Hey, babes. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Farah, and welcome tonight, today, wherever you are listening at whatever time. Maybe you're on my YouTube, and maybe you're listening on Vanity Fair, my podcast. Wherever you are, hi. My name is Chris, and we're talking Love is Blind, the complete season so far. So that's literally episodes of season 10, 1 through 9 specifically, but I watched 10 and 11. They might trickle in, but I'm going to do a recap of the final episodes and the tell all after. So, hi, I'm so happy. It's a live recap, which means on YouTube, if you're here, this is real life. It's 6:01 p.m. I'm going to wait a little bit while people populate the room, just give people a moment to get comfortable. So get in the room, get a comfortable spot to sit. There's like couches, just consider everything is like velvet or chenille, very comfortable. There's like, yes, hello, there's some rugs, there's throw pillows. There's me, my shiny forehead. There's you. I'm so excited. Just so you guys know, as I let people get in the room and I'll start, I've been doing a lot of Vanity Fair episodes. So right now, I have obviously they're on most of them are on YouTube as well. I recapped Traders. Hi. Which has been super fun to talk about with some fun guests. The first 5 episodes with Tess, and then I got to talk with my friend Kristen Nicola / cousin about the last couple of episodes, and we had spent some time in Carmel together, and she was really fun to talk to. And then after, people begging on all social medias for me to watch America's Next Top Model. That happened too. And Becky Feldman, who's been a very good friend of mine, very funny improviser, comic actress, and also podcaster. Her podcast is Too Stupid to Live. And Tess, by the way, I'll go back. So Becky is amazing. Too Stupid to Live. We finished out America's Next Top Model. All 3 episodes of the the docu-series are already live. So that's happening. And then, Tess Barker, who did the first 5 episodes of Traders, she has many different podcasts, but we did an episode recently that just aired of Pop Mystery Pod together, and it's all about Angeline. LA, Angeline. Ooh, Angeline, honey. Iconic LA drag queen. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. If you know her, you love her. It's Angeline. It's like we deep dive into that. So, and Tess, if you listen to the episode, at least on Vanity Fair or hear of us talking about Traders, you know that Tess is like a phenomenally gifted, not only like very funny comedian, but investigative pop journalist. So it's very, very fun conversation. Okay. Having said that, I'm excited to talk about Love is Blind. I'm excited to be with fun friends. Yay. I hope you all is well. Thank you so much for your patience. Just like before I kind of go into the recap, since this is, our fun time live together. I moved. I think I've been really upfront about that. That is what's happening to me. It's happened. In fact, it's already happened to me. And in my life. And so I'm so ex- excited for the energy shift. For sure, obviously, my last apartment, I was there just too long. I was there for 15 years. I'm too young to live somewhere for 15 years, truly. And so already I feel such promise with it being able to just go over everything, be like, what do I need? Why did I hold on to that? Because honestly, the truth is, I think that recently in the past year, I've emotionally had to let go of a lot of things, and literally ask myself, what does this mean to me? Does this mean something to me? And should I keep it in my life? And the truth of the matter is, a lot of it, no, and I think that that's great because I need space and I need, you know, I need I need quiet space. What did Devante call it? Nothing box. Oh my God. Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, we're going to talk about Love is Blind. And since I am behind, I just decided to talk about the entire show thus far, which is exciting. And 2 episodes ended up being dropped last night. And tonight, Traders Night, obviously. So there's just so much happening that besides moving and besides my girls' trip and besides 90 Day Fiance, which I've been keeping up with high before the 90 days, obviously single life, there's just been a lot. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches, honestly. Yes. Hi. I'm so happy to be live. Honestly, there's so many, it's so fun to do fun commentary and like stuff like this. And I'm as someone who does like multiple streams, I don't care if there's like no one, present for a live. There's like 10 people in the room, if there's 20, you know, there is there's nothing like being live, even if you're on the internet. It's why I love live theater. Like it's fun talking to like a friend like Becky or a friend like Tess about a show and just having us go back and forth. But there's something exciting about being able to like immediately connect with someone in the moment. And obviously, I know there's like different mediums, like if we're on Twitch or whatever, and there'd be people that like had cameras ready, and then I'd be able to like look at their comments and maybe like bring them up. And that's like, exciting to me. I would love to have like some sort of live show, and at the same time, you'd have to vet people so people just don't show their dicks and stuff like that on cameras. But obviously, there's people that I know and have seen before, like in names that have been at many different YouTube lives over the years of mine. So I wonder how media is going to change. And I enjoy the subtle differences between recording a podcast episode with visuals and then recording a live recap with people. And yeah, I think that my next foray into this is just being able to isolate like a really good schedule so I can indulge in both. But everything is coming along. I think the move had to happen. I'm going to start soon. The move had to happen because now I have my own like space to podcast in, and I don't have noisy neighbors. And whatever was else happening to me, so I get to focus and have like more space. And I think that I'm going to be able to obviously uh, plan and really crystallize when I'm doing lives and what shows, and have a great schedule and calendar for people. And it also depends on if I have guests, because it's too hard to facilitate a live with a guest, unfortunately, because I'd want to look at comments and want to look at them. And I just, there's a beauty to both, don't you think? Can you bring a lot of fun and joy to the regular things that we do, like our television viewing and sorry, I can't read, like our television viewing, and it's really a lot of fun. Thank you for that. Hi, yay, super happy for you. Thank you so much. I'm so pumped. Hi, Hawaiian dude. Yes. Hey, yeah, I'm also excited. Also, I hate to just like keep twirling in my own perfume, but my birthday is coming up. So just know, 'tis the season for me, March 7th. So Pisces season is upon us. Also me, it's my season. And I'm excited to like have some fun. And also just my dad's birthday is right before mine, 3 days. So like next week is just birthday week. And then I just get to unpack more boxes. I'm really taking my time. I really want to like perfect this place and have like everything make sense. My birthday's the 6th. Oh, I mean, God bless Pisces season. Okay, I'm gonna start in 20 seconds. What I decided. Yeah, that makes sense. We're all just little fishies in the sea. That's us. Um, hmm. Huh. Oh, okay. So sorry. I thought I had, but I did not. All right, my loves. Okay. Hi there. Welcome. Where tonight we'll be talking Love is Blind. This is season 10. This is the episodes pretty much 1 through 9, although I'll make some reference to 10 and 11, which dropped last night. And then, of course, we'll wait for the rest of the weddings. Now, the way that we can really dive into this is just like in the pods, people break into couples, and we'll go into the couples. It's hard to go over linearly what happens in this story. I mean, like in the chunks, it's easier to do the couples, kind of like how 90 Day Fiance is. So that is the format, my babes. So let's talk. We're in Ohio, the Ohio state, literally. I'm so sorry. It's so funny. I, as a non-football person, like would not have known really or paid attention to that if it wasn't for the Key and Peele sketch. So just know that comedy bridges people. The entire group feels mature, which is good. Like it just feels like a kind of like a cohesive, more sophisticated group. Older for sure, but like when it starts off, like it feels promising. I like what I like what Nick is wearing. I feel like Nick and Vanessa, their clothes this season is toned down and a little more elegant. Like she sometimes, and I get this, can wear a lot of pageanty. And I don't mean to say that because she literally was a pageant girl, because it feels like I'm just like hitting on like what is her nerve. But she does wear a lot of pageanty style sequins or high structured garments in a way that makes me sometimes feel like you're too formal for your own show. Like you're not at a black tie affair, Vanessa. You know, some we've seen that before. I'm not really talking the reunions. It's always like when we first see them like opening shots where they're in the different quarters, right? Um I'm just cleaning the clothes. Yours is the 7th, and yes, I'm sorry. I should say that. I'm having a party the 7th. He didn't tell me what he was doing for his birthday, but he's coming to my birthday, I think. But he also has 2 other birthdays. He's very popular. I'll make him do something. Okay, I got ADHD. Please. Okay, here we are. So I really enjoy the start of it all. And so we're obviously going to get some moments. And then, as we know, basically, there's just a bunch of people we never really meet, except for one who has a crazy mix up where she decides to put nail glue in her eyes as eye drops because they look similar. Her name, I think, is Essie. That is horrifying. I mean, I can't imagine doing that. Alyssa. Yeah. Poor Alyssa doesn't leave with a boo, but she does leave with like a very valuable lesson, which is to keep the clear eyes like in a place you know it is. Nail glue, okay. Nail glue vehicles are pretty specific. They are circular, and I guess yes, they have a droplet, but the smell of them, the smell of nail glue is so specific and it's so acetone or whatever that chemical is. It is, I can't imagine not having smelt it at all the minute that you open the cap. Oh my god, she just like put it in her eyes. Oh my god. Anyway, so um having said that, let's talk. So Christine and Vic. Christine is a 30-year-old speech language pathologist, and she gives waspy kind of like East Coast vibes. To me, she looks kind of like, well, Sydney Biddle Bowers or Burrows, Sydney Biddle Burrows, who is the Mayflower Madam. She kind of gives me those kinds of vibes, like tight-lipped, real pale skin. You know, she looks Nordic or whatever. She also looks like she played a lot of volleyball. I like her a lot. Her whole vibe is, you know, like volleyball girl or basketball girl, and like peaceful, low key. Maybe even a little tired all the time, but not in a bad way and not in a fucked up way. And not that I think that she's like on drugs, but just kind of like or old soul. There's something about Christine and also kind of Vic that feels like they've been over it. And there's nothing that can either like truly rile them up. They've been there, they've seen it, they're like holding on. There's like, yeah, yeah, I like her a lot. Like I like her vibe. It's funny because like Christine and I have the same name. So we're basically the same person, also the same hair color. Haven't you seen? She isn't super funny. They don't give her a lot of like funny moments. She's kind of like the opposite of Brie. But I guess so is Brittany. But also Brittany can, in an Alex's mind, as we'll get into, might be like, you know, the opposite of Ashley. Ha ha ha. But I like Christine a lot. So here's the thing. Vic is a 33-year-old public policy professor. He's from Brooklyn. I think that he teaches at Ohio State, but I don't think I can say it. He is, you know, lovely and has like long hair, and he is very soft spoken, and so is she. When they talk together, it in the pods, they almost feel like they're talking in the corner of a library together, but or also in a crowded restaurant, but they're just in the next room and like they don't even know it. They immediately click. We really don't see them with anyone else. And there always feels like there is a couple on Love is Blind that seems, I mean, except for last season, which no one got married. I get that. There's like, okay, let me say this. Because this is season 10, we have seen certain types of couples. And there's kind of like the opposite of the dark horse couple is the like white horse couple, or the, I don't know if I shouldn't use colors, but it's like the couple we know is a strong match, seems that way, never really like loses steam, is also kind of boring because they are so easygoing and like perfect for each other. Now, the ways in which Christine and Vic connect in the pods like are interesting. So Christine, and we'll get into maybe like how, okay, Christine had a rough childhood for sure. And she is from rural kind of country parts. And she shares like a memory when she was young of her dad and her driving, and him being really messed up and in a place of addiction, and asking her to hide pills. And her, like, obviously, as a child in that moment, you register something like a certain feeling. And it's just very hard. I mean, unless you're astute at processing, it can be difficult to really pinpoint what that feeling is. And usually it's, oh my God, I'm not safe. This person's going to put me in danger or put me in harm's way or choose themselves. This parent of mine, when push comes to shove, will choose themselves over my safety, over my like happiness or whatever. Except you can't really like know all of that in the moment. All you feel is panic. Probably a certain amount of panic of like this isn't right or whatever, and it feels really bad. So Vic, here's the thing. So Christine and Vic also have like a super religious note to them. And Vic, God bless that. So Vic also then asks Christine if she's able to forgive him. And Vic has his own story, which is that Vic watched his father like grab his mother, he talks about, I think it might have been his stepfather. He might not know his father, and then his stepfather is the one that he like witnesses him going to his mom's door after hearing them fight, and the door closes by like the dad or stepdad like sort of grabbing the mom, and it was like a violent image that like stayed with him. And I'm sure in the same way he like feels panic. It's interesting. And he's like, did you forgive your dad? It's okay. Sometimes I'm like, why is that important? Or why? Why make it seem like she has to? If she said no, would you hold it against her? Would you feel like she's not over it? Or how do you define forgiveness? I think that cerebrally, you can be like, if I was Christine, I could be like, well, my father dealt with like a crazy addiction that, made it so that he was incapable of, and, really being there for me as a father or holding space or making me feel safe. And maybe that like takes away accountability too much by saying that he wasn't able to, like, his addiction and his own moral compass and emotional capabilities and intelligence all came together to make her hide pills. And also for her to realize he's not shit, that she can't trust him, that she doesn't have a dad that she can lean on. And so if there's a trope in this world, or if she has to see great dads on TV for the rest of her life, she's going to know that she is without. Because like great dads, want the best for their princess daughters. Or like, or the kind of dads that's like, yeah, I don't know, or want provider protectors, or the kind of dads that like care and love their daughters and show up at baseball games, or I don't know, or whatever the daughter's doing, ballet recitals, girl dads, like all of those kind of things. Christine had to like know that like that's not her. And in fact, she has to be a little bit on the defensive because she has to protect herself. And then to grow up with that and have that like affect you and still be kind of young, and then just having someone be like, "And do you forgive him?" is like, I think I can understand cerebrally that he's, not a bad, evil person. And there are certain things going against him. But I don't think I need to forgive him and what have him in my life, have him at Christmas, have him meet you, have him, I- it's, but I understand that I love my family and I love families, and people love families. So it's hard for people to like conceptualize that. So obviously, Christine and Vic, well, not obviously, if you're not watching the show, you're just listening to me, just so you know, Christine's white, Vic's black. Okay. And when they're the first couple to meet and they're into each other. And they have, besides like, an understanding of this, they have like some other similarities, which is that they both had like misdemeanor situations for weed. And the way they talk about having smoked weed in the past is like, they're like, well, one time I inhaled. Yeah, one time I inhaled. Yeah, like I don't really do anymore. Yeah, I don't do anymore. I just, yeah. So anyway, this is one time I also like, got like mildly like arrested for it. Like, well, me too. What, for weed? Yeah, me too. The thing I don't do. It's just so sad. First of all, just so you know, it sucks that anyone gets arrested for weed, because parts of America, it's legal. And there's just a lot of things happening that you could just focus on, like fentanyl. I don't know. Um, that was a cute moment. I'm happy that they both like connected over that. And, I don't know what his experience was and her experience was of getting arrested that night. But I mean, I bittersweet. I'm sure they were very effing different. Why? There's two reasons why I'm going to bring this up, because something else happens later on when obviously they see each other and they're booed up, and it's like not a big surprise. When all the couples get booed up and they go to Mexico, Christine and Vic don't go. They go to Malibu, which obviously is in America, and Mexico isn't. So I like don't know if I don't. Okay, here's the thing. But they both said there are misdemeanors that were expunged from their records. So I'm like, you can travel, but for some reason, Vic and yeah, Christine don't go on the group trip with everyone. And they never tell us why. And I almost feel like they don't tell us why, either to create fodder for the internet, like knowing people will be like, excuse me, why is Christine and Vic not there? Or because, as I said, Vic and Christine are kind of boring. And so basically the like unknown white elephant of like why they're not with everyone is sort of the most interesting thing about them. Like I know that I should be interested in the fact that one's black and one's white, I guess, but it's not really because it's not the 1990s. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, great. And also it's not their races, they're great together. Like whatever. They seem chill, like they seem, I don't know, they don't really like laugh together. I'm not saying they're funny together, but they just don't seem like maybe they need that from each other. They both just seem like they just want a low key, low voiced person, low energy to basically talk like they're ASMR together. They just want to come home and put on a fireplace. Maybe they've both worked out. They'll make some salmon and some broccoli, and they're going to watch a nature show together, Like that's what their vibes are. She is she's obsessed with him. She loves him. She looks at him with a lot of love and adoration in, her eyes. It very much feels like, and as we go on, that she feels very lucky to be with such an incredibly hot and smart, cool man. She so like every time Christine looks at Vic, she's like, and obviously, so anyway, so let me say this. They do give us this like one sound bite before they see each other with like one of the girls being like, so crazy. Christine and Vic have the same story, just in a different color. Like is it in living color? Just kidding. Haha. You can do what you want to do. No. So as I said, both are religious. And then Christine, when she sees obviously hot ass Vic, she's like, God is good, y'all. And I'm like, I'm happy for both of them. Here's the thing. Not every reality show star has to be wild, and not everyone has to be super interesting. If they're not super interesting, I'm totally fine with watching season one of them. Just we'll see their journey. And then, like, do I need more Vic and Christine in my life? Like season two, I wouldn't watch like, happily ever after Vic and Christine. But I'm happy that they found each other. You know what I'm saying? If they end up being together, is what I'm saying. So let's move on. Amber is a 33-year-old mom. Now, Amber has lots of hair and she has a very thick hairline. And okay. Amber's hair texture, okay. Amber's hair texture is thick and it is frizzy. And why I say this is I am now somewhat obsessed with the idea that I don't want anyone to have to fight their hair texture. And now I'm like, girl, is your hair curly? Is your hair that long ass curly ass hair? And also, because I feel like if Amber has curly hair that she's fighting, she's gonna have like Carrie Russell style hair or like Nicole Kidman style hair, but like thick. I like Amber. She has again a 7-year-old. I don't know if I said that already. She said she's a mom. She has a 7-year-old named Emma, and she's she has a banging ass body. I mean, works out. I mean, like works out. Like I don't even know exactly what her workout combo is, but the muscle tone on her, as well as the elongation of her limbs, like makes me feel like she is doing heavy lifting with like 2 hours of Pilates reformer afterward. I'm just like, wow, Yeah. It's interesting. Everyone has such a style, and her style was very specific to Amber's. Amber, for being 33, she dresses to me someone who maybe is a little older. Because I do feel like her clothes feel a little dated sometimes. But I also can't quite tell if it's like her clothes are a tiny bit dated and or if she leaned into dressing maybe with like a tad more sophistication or like a kind of edge or even like a little bit mask, like, like a baggy trouser, kind of a different idea of silhouette. I think that I would basically what I'm trying to say is I want to give her a full fucking makeover. And she's so beautiful, right? Like I've already said it. So just like, I do want her to have different makeup and I want to see what she would look like if I changed her hair. I would probably also not make it so blonde. I would like take it down. I think that she would have a full make under where you like give her mild ombre but pop in the front, like, basically the Breeze hair, which is what I said, ombre with a pop of the color in the front, but it's not so like platinum blonde. And then dress her with a silhouette that's like drapey ass pants, like long drapey ass pants, and like like really tight bodysuit. You really can show like her boobies, but also not like totally show her boobies, like, like maybe not like a full deep V, but whatever. Like, oh my God. Just, I don't even think that she would, God bless. I don't even know what would happen to her. She'd be like Sandra Bullock in Love Potion #9. People would be falling out of the woodwork for it. Now, in the pods, we don't get to really see her with a bunch of other like great candidates. But Jordan is 33, so same age, and an account exec. I'm always like, sometimes these jobs are like vague enough where I'm like, what is that? Account exec could be anything to like a business account. Do you paper account? um like accounting account, like what I don't know. So Jordan comes in and is like, I'll tell you, I'm down for it. I'm just a cool guy with long hair. And I'm like, kind of like that, like fun guy best friend, like gonna come in and show my tummy at a barbecue and like, maybe do some beer pong. Like I'm that guy. And I just want to have like a good time. I'll tell you what would be a total deal breaker, like being with, I don't know, someone who had a kid. I don't know, I can do that. And then just, yeah, falls for Amber. And the way they fall together is it's hard because it doesn't feel like their conversation is sparkling full of magical moments of connection and like deep coincidences. They seem to talk about the fact that they're bad at money. Now, here's the thing. Jordan loves to cook. He loves to cook, and it's true. So he cooks chocolate chip cookies and he gives them to Amber, and Amber has enough and she gives them out. She's so happy about those chocolate chip cookies. I think that there's just, okay, here's the truth of the matter. I think that if you're on the show, you tell yourself this. My goal is to try and see if I can make it to the altar with someone. That's the goal. And so you just have to get past the pod level. It's like playing Mario Kart. You're like, oh, to get past the pod level. And so getting past the pod level sometimes just feels like having blanket customer servicey conversations with people until you find one that either you have no other choices and that person has no other choices and so you pick each other, or you whittle them down and this person is the best choice for whatever reason. That is like, I guess, what happens for other people. Amber and Jordan just are just like, well, let's just do it. He's just like, you know what? I like talking to her and it's not easy for me to talk to anyone else. And she's like, the cookies are good. And all the women love the cookies. The minute she gets the cookies, she's like, okay, you're okay with me having a kid. And you're fun to talk to. And you make me feel, this is what I feel like she feels. You make me feel like easygoing, like chill. Like I don't feel like I have to always impress you and have you always thinking that I'm God's gift of sex. Like, there's a lot of pressure, I think, for women to look good, right? And, everyone wants to look good. And the truth is, the times in which I look my best probably are the times in which I've wanted to for myself. But and let me say this, I've never performed beauty at the level that some women do, like where I am like 100 and, blah, blah, blah pounds and like, eyelash extensions and fake nails and the tan, and, all the things and real extensions. Like so I guess I'm saying there's like hierarchy of how much you have to like play that game of really making sure that you're hot AF all the time and all the poses and all the ankles, no flab ever. You just have to like perform as some sex doll hooker, like in a way to keep them. There's like that's a kind of fucked up idea that women feel like and are made to feel. It's like always having to be perfect, right? So I think that there's like a feeling for Amber of the comfort of Jordan just being like, I don't think she has to try so hard to impress someone who's going to probably leave her and or be looking to leave at any moment because that's the nature of that kind of person. Jordan, kind of like I said, like Vic and Christine, Jordan does have an air of, you know what I really want? Just having a partner. Like I would love having someone that I trust, that loves me, that I can just know that like we're a unit, that we get each other, we want to be in each other's lives, we, love each other. And we all, come home and plan life every night together and every day together. We make food together. It's like there is the companionship, I guess is the word, that a Jordan I feel like wants. And Alex, no. In fact, yeah. It almost feels like everything I'm saying about Amber, like not wanting to have to perform at a level all the time to keep someone who probably is going to cheat on you and not 100% interested in you anyway, always to be interested in you is basically what Ashley is signing up for. And it is devastating. Okay. So, one more thing about Amber is that when Amber and Jordan have the reveal, Jordan, of course, is like nervous, and he loves to cook and he loves to eat and, me too, and the thing about it is there's this thing where yes, maybe he's a little huskier or whatever. I don't know. There's different types of people and there's different preferences. Amber says this, that she doesn't mind like a guy that has like a little meat on his bones. Either do I. I really don't. When Amber is waiting for the doors to open, the way that Amber poses in that doorway is kind of like why I said everything I just said. Because she poses so hardcore trying to look hot when she's already hot. Like she's already the hottest. Like she's great. Her body is banging, but she definitely feels the need to over articulate a pose to make sure that like she looks good. And I don't blame her for that. I know why it's happening. And in those moments, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like, girl, I want to see you in like 2 years with Jordan in like sweatpants and be like, yeah, I'm so much happier just like knowing you're there and you just think I'm great. Not because of the way I look, although icing on the cake, because I've emotionally shown up for you in a way that's allowed you to feel good and safe. Yeah, I guess like the thing about some people, and I guess in this realm, I'm going to talk about people who want companionship. I think is what do you need to have like a good companion is like basically friend vibes, but like obviously you also want to have sex with this person if you want to get married, whatever all this. But the idea that with them you feel ease, good, your best, home, familiar, safe, like that you just feel, if not a little excited, a little titillated, if not also a tiny bit challenged. And I mean that like, it's not that you should just feel like, oh, this person I can just, pass gas around or whatever. I think you do want to be with someone that like challenges you and makes you want to be like a good person, better for you, better for you, better for yourself, especially if you are someone who can take care of other people more than yourself. And sometimes people that are cooks are really good at taking care of other people and not so good at taking care of themselves. Like it's easier to show love like that. So anyway, let's move on. Ashley and Alex. These are all 30-year-olds. It's so funny. Ashley's 33, a claims supervisor, and Alex, the 30-year-old soccer coach. First of all, Ashley's beautiful. Ashley just happens to also look like one of my dad's ex-girlfriends who I liked a lot. And so it's just funny, like her hair, her face, her eye color. I mean, this nice lady that my dad dated, like had one eye color. And I'm only saying that because Ashley, has mood ring eyes that just change, like whatever she's feeling. It's like, she's like, if I like you, they're blue. If I don't like you, they're green. No, she didn't say it like that way. I would love to have, well, here's the thing. I wish I could change my eye color, but I like having dark eyes. When I was younger, I would have been like, I want blue eyes. I want gray. I really wanted gray eyes. I think I've said this before. I really want like Olivia Hussey eyes from Romeo and Juliet, the 1967 version with Leonard Whiting. And they ended up like suing Franco Zeffirelli later because, she was underage and he showed those titties. And then we also saw the titties because we were, forced to watch the Romeo and Juliet version in grade school. I really wanted her color eyes. I like having brown eyes though. And you know who else likes brown eyes? Alex, just kidding. But I'll get there. So basically, Alex, could have gone pro as like a soccer player, but he ended up getting like injury after injury after injury, and it really like fucked up his shit. And he loved soccer, and he also knew he was good. And he was also like the captain and stuff like that. And he tells this like shitty story where basically on not roster day. Oh, what's the word? Oh no, what's the word, honey, when they're just like the sports are picking the players. They do it in football. It's team picking day. I want you. That draft. Wow, I just thought about that. You know what? Yeah, you draft people in a sports league, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, you draft people in the army. It's the same word. So anyway, one's good, one's bad. Well, or how you feel about it. Okay, moving on from that topic. So basically, he gets injured, but then like he still gets drafted or whatever. But he should have been like first or whatever. And all the like his teammates like come to his house, and his like leg is on like on stretched out kind of like cast situation. And as their names get picked and his doesn't yet, they decide to celebrate the only way they know how, because they're such fucking fanatics, by playing what? Soccer. I don't okay. And then so basically they leave him and he just is by himself, and it's a shitty story. But why I feel like this is so weird to me is like, yeah, I guess I'm not an athlete, but I can't imagine a world in which I love one thing so much, and then on the biggest day ever, like, what I can't wait to do is just go out and do that thing. It's like, oh, I'm trying to think. I love acting. I love improv, like I love comedy. Like, if I was waiting to get cast in a Broadway show, I wouldn't just like immediately get the news and be like, you know what I'm gonna do? Go outside and start singing right now. I'm gonna start putting on a Broadway show right now. You know what I'm gonna do? I was gonna go outside and just start doing the monologues I did that got me this audition. Like I just that's so weird. And I love acting. It's not even that physical. I mean, as it can be, but as physical as soccer. I don't know why I was like, why wouldn't your dudes just be like hanging out, like drinking, calling their friends? Like, don't they have family and friends that want to like celebrate? Because like their girlfriends or their wives or like their kids or whoever, like they're the loves of their lives. They all don't play soccer. Like, how obsessive are you guys? But then Alex does tell stories that when you really go over it with like a fine tooth comb, or even like a wide tooth comb, or even like a three-pronged fork, there are problems. There are snacks. Anyway. So basically, Ashley just listens to all of that. There's not a lot of moments of Alex, for instance, doing the thing Vic does for Christine, which is like take her and listen to like something that she's like super vulnerable, vulnerable about. Yeah, I guess that is the word. And like doesn't have moments where he yes ands anything that she does. More improv talk. He doesn't hold space for her, listen to her, regurgitate anything, or even like have anything that she says affect him. He just seems to be talking to himself in the pods, and Ashley, with an empathetic heart and maybe a keen sense for like a hot voice, like a voice that would be traveling from a physically attractive man. And then also on top of that, maybe what we didn't hear, which will come to fruition later, is maybe Ashley's fondness for conservative talk. Because I think there might have been more like red pilly kind of conservative back and forth conversation between Ashley and Alex in the pods that made her think that they would be aligned politically. And that's the only thing I could think of, because, obviously everyone comes out from Love is Blind being like, we just talked for so long and you know me better than anyone. But obviously we don't watch everyone talk for so long. And a lot of the conversations aren't deep. Like Brittany and Devonte, like for some reason, it's just, I guess, really difficult to show us a relationship that blooms with all of the like juiciest, best parts of a conversation. Like to me, I guess if I fell in love in a pod, I would hope that you would have the following clips. The clip where I open up about my childhood trauma and this person hears it and like listens and like says something poignant or just at least is what is sensitive and caring enough to make me feel not horrible for having said the words, like, and then that person would do the same thing, right? And I would be there for that person. And then another clip would be like us joking and laughing. And then another, like the first time. And then another clip would be like the runner that we've already established some dumb joke and we keep hitting it. Or that we have some coincidence together. And there is those moments like we're going to, I think Brittany and Devontae don't have it at all, but obviously Bree and Bree does. So, but like there'd be the moments like that. And then there'd be the moments of spontaneous magic, because I think that love like happens in some other kind of like realm where you're not expecting something. And then there would be like, a realization that the other person and you feel the same way, and maybe like even fear about that. But a lot of Ashley and Alex is like them just talking kind of at each other until they meet. So once they meet, Alex can't stop telling Ashley that her eyes are transfixing him, that he can't stop staring at him, that he's like, those eyes, they like, she is so intense about her eyes. And meanwhile, it's so interesting because almost immediately she starts staring his ass down as if her eyes are gaining power with every compliment. And I started to watch this and I started to be like, is he doing this on purpose? Is this like some mating technique? It's like the opposite of an egg, right? Like remember how like obviously the pickup artist or any of those kinds of shows, like the neg would be like a dude telling a girl that like she sucks in some way, so she feels bad about herself, so that she feels like her only option is this guy who told her how shitty she is. Anyway, the opposite would be you telling someone that they have a special power over you, and that if immediately you watched them change and try and do it more, then they want to have that power over you, that they enjoy making you feel a certain way, and that you in turn then have them. It's kind of like this fucked up psychological thing. Like, I don't know. He kept telling her that her eyes were making him like basically wildly infatuated with her. And then she was like, what, these eyes? What eyes? You just, and it's like she started to yield to him and sort of like, sexually submit to him in a way that was like the reverse psychology of what he said. I found it, I was like, this is great. So yeah, when they first meet, have sexual chem. She's gorge. He's very good looking, very hot. He's physically a very good looking man. And the funny thing is he's 30 and he's like a tall gent. Now I wrote down 30 and even now I'm like, he looks older than 30. I don't know if he was just like in New Zealand, honey, with like absolutely no SPF, or if he's the kind of vain person that wants to shave 5 years off of his age. But my God, 30? It was like, really? Okay. Now Ashley loves smut. So maybe she should listen to Becky's Too Stupid to Live podcast. Has anyone read that Fourth Wing book? It's funny because if you watch 90 Day Fiancé, which obviously you probably do, Laura is on right now, and Laura also loves smut porn and or erotica, I guess is the word. And she also with BeerCon is for some reason in a toxic relay with someone who it feels like she wants this person to be someone that he's not. And it does also feel like Ashley wants Alex to be someone that he's not. And I will say that I think I don't know how you get over that. How do you, and I really mean this, how do you start to date someone and then not try and project on them the idea that you either have of them or that you have of the person that you want to be with if it starts to, talk like a duck and walk like a duck? Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like you're starting to date someone and you're attracted to them and they're telling you things and you're like, "Oh my god, is this my person?" Well, okay. If this is my person, then the following things are true. This person loves me. This person is attracted to me. This person wants to be with me. This person is also thinking that they want, good things in their lives with me for a, undocumented amount of days. But it's like you also could be like, well, of course that they would be nice to people. Of course that they want to have, good relationships with my family members. Well, of course, that they're going to want, to have fun friend nights with my friends so that we can all enjoy life together. Like you just start to put on people, well, if this, then that. And maybe that's more of a like, or not more of, I hate to say that, but like maybe it could be like a hyper feminine thing to do, like sort of fantasize or sort of like fantasy style, like princess style dream of like princes and stuff. And maybe that is the answer. I think that if you are a specific person that maybe was raised in fairy tales, that yeah, you have the idea that the person that would be into you and for the rest of your days would of course have like a certain amount of valor to them. And then it's subjective of what valor or like a moral compass means. Ashley is just attracted to Alex. Alex is physically very attractive. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I think Connor is hotter. Like Connor to me is hotter. Like in the sense of if I was at a bar and for some reason I was like feeling my absolute best. Maybe I just like looked real good and maybe I just like had that perfect amount of buzz, and like I was powdered down. I wasn't so shiny like I am now. My hair was looking great, whatever, God bless. And I just like I had my babies, like my booze there, just feeling the best. If I had talked to every person, I would be I would be smitten with Connor. And the reason why is because I really like Connor's eyes. Oh yeah, I just like Connor's eyes. Not the color, although they're great. I'm not saying, it's just a certain kind of like sweetness that I just find to be like where I guess I find the most amount of safety. Um, Alex has a certain idea, not so much of like maybe who his wife is going to be, unless it's his ex, but also an idea of himself. And it's like this kind of bad boy, traveler, nomad, stoic philosopher style. The thing about stoicism, it's like in order to survive, there is no need to hyperfixate on the emotional state, but instead focus on the, what is happening, what is actuality, the process and the doing of it. And there are beautiful, important tenements to that. But also there's just like a specific style of person. And it's funny because I forgot, like, I already made the connection to BeerCon. Like BeerCon also, I feel like, said that he was a stoic philosopher. BeerCon and Alex. It's the same type of guy who fancies himself fucking cooler than he is, more debonair than he is, more intelligent, a certain amount of emotional maturity and a heightened sense of like better thanness of this lowly earth and these peon people. And having I think that there's also a way in which you can kind of divorce yourself of responsibility for other people's emotional states because you are not responsible for that, or they shouldn't have them in the first place, or it's peculiar for people to you know hold on to such archaic, superficial, fleeting things like feelings. I would say the opposite. Like, I think that Alex could probably like lean into some hardcore empathy. Okay. Some like somatic things. So also when he says that he has read letters to a stoic, he doesn't say the right author for that. So okay, Brittany and Devante. So again, 33. She says she's a nurse, which she is, but she also does eyelash extensions, and she also is probably very, very good at it. And Devante, um, yeah, his dad wasn't around for most of his life, and he does tells this like really crazy story where like they see each other at a game, a high school football game. He doesn't introduce himself, and then he just dies when he's fucking 18. Ugh. And then during filming of Love Is Blind, Devante's dad dies. Oh, sorry, grandfather dies. So sorry. Now, Brittany is like a very cute, fun girl, curvy AF, and like giggly and like super sexy, and like also kind of emotionally also immature. But I don't want to just blame her. Him, he seems detached as well. They have very immature conversations. Like their conversations in the pods are like 32 and 33. I don't know, when they talk about having like feelings that are like described as tingly winglies, I'm like, it are you guys Disney adults? Like, and here's the thing, there are Disney rides that I will go on right now, and I've had a magic key, not just an annual pass. Like, that takes a lot for me to say that, but at the same time, it's like tingly winglies. What? Devante has like hot eyes, a very interesting shaped face. You know what I'm saying? Just a very interesting shaped head. I like it though. He looks like he could, like really, he's a sturdy man. He's a sturdy shaped skull, is what I'm trying to say. Very. Um, when they meet, she does not seem into him at all. Even though I think that he's very attractive. He has those hot eyes. I like his, as I said, sturdy skull. He's has a little, meat in on his bones, kind of like Jordan. Again, I am into it. He's just sweaty. He's so sweaty, and that is to be expected because of the lights. And she is not so much into that. She keeps saying stuff like, "I don't know if I'd go for him if he was at a bar." And although she's like, he has hot eyes and lips, I don't know if we're like he's someone that I would have dated. And this kind of conversation is going to come back for other people as well, obviously. I always wonder why they say that and how they get them to say that, because I'm assuming that any man that wants to be with me knows that they cannot on camera tell the world that that when they first saw me, they thought, well, if I saw her at a bar, I would never go up to her. Like, I hate to say this, like the vanity in me, that's maybe why I have a podcast, but like I don't think I can get married to a man that could publicly admit that I am so far away from his attractive ideal that it's so shocking for him. But I think the other part of me, I'm like, why does this annoy me? The other part of me is like, how hardcore are people's physical restrictions on people? Like, I guess in my mind, it's like, yeah, maybe you have ideals. I would like, I'm 5'8". It'd be ideal if someone was taller than me, just, I would be ideal. But it doesn't mean that I would ever embarrass someone or say, like, would be like, he's not the kind of person I typically date. Because the truth of the matter is, I have been attracted to people that aren't. The person I typically date is someone who realize I'm attracted to and also is attracted to me. And I feel intellectually stimulated by, and I feel like I want to have conversation with them. Like that's like almost that's why I feel like maybe I'd be good on the show. It's like I need witty banter. Like I need you to be present in conversation and then like take in what I said and then like add in your own and then have a call back or have an inside joke with me or bit around with me and then also be deep with me and then also like look at me with Connor eyes and then all of that. Like anyway. Um let's talk so we're still talking. Oh my god, it's been an hour. What the really? Oh my god. In the pods, this is crazy. I'm going to have to pick this up. It's fine. So in the pods, we also get and they're not going to make it out, the craziest, and by craziest I mean most frustrating love triangle between Tyler, Kia and Kevin. I have such a hard time remembering how people say their names. Okay. So basically, Tyler is a design director and she's 32, and she is obviously dating Kevin, and in the pods, and she's already like kind of friends with Kia, and very early on, she's like, I'm willing to quit my job and be wherever I need to be for my man. And Kevin lives, with his mom to take care of her. And so he was like, well, that's good because I'm making no concessions. And Kevin then turns around and decides to like never really ever do anything. I don't know exactly what Kevin's deal is, but he either has like gone through some sort of trauma where he tiptoes around every word or making a decision or is very scared to like let his true feelings be known or commit. There's something there or he is a weird, inept, socially inattuned asshole who doesn't understand that his behavior is rude, if not incredibly off-putting in like a romantic sphere. It's interesting to me, when you like start to like date someone or you like enter in the idea of like a conversation or a relationship with someone, then there starts to be like to me like unwritten contracts of communication and of like keeping your side of the street clean while also respecting someone else's like time and energy. And to me, I do not understand how Kevin could possibly be so selfish and so narcissistic to not be able to understand that people want to fucking do shit with their lives and not wait around for someone to finish a sentence. Period. Like, I mean, so it's one of those things are happening and we can't tell which one. So basically, Kia tells a story about how her dad died and she like, bought a watch for herself so she can like remember how to value time. And the way that this is happening is this thing where Tyler then becomes this person who's like, all right, well, I know you're dating like two people, like, and I want to be with you. So like, I already told you I'm gonna like fucking move to be around you. So like, let's do it or not do it. And he won't choose her. At the same time, she knows that he's dating Kia. And so then when like the gifts happen, Kia gives him a fucking watch of her, and is like, you know what? Just don't put pressure on yourself to make decisions. And it's really important for you to do you. Meanwhile, I'm like, no, bitch, you don't understand. This man won't ever make a decision. Don't be so. It's hard because both women, thankfully, become like phoenixes to rise in the end. And I get it. Both women try so hard to be wildly patient and understanding. For sure, Tyler, not as much. Okay, for sure, Tyler has to do a redo because she's so pissed. And I get Tyler. I was like on Tyler's side. Kia like really comes at it like Mother Teresa, and then at the end is like, oh no, this one isn't shit. But Tyler pretty much, as I said, sees or so sorry. After Kia gives Kevin a watch, Kevin gives her a basketball. They had talked about basketball movies like Love and Basketball. I feel like White Man Can't Jump is the best basketball movie, and I've never seen that Queen Latifah one. Sex is there a movie called Sex and Basketball? Sex and the Basketball? No. I'm like there's not it's funny there's such good sports movies. There's not that many great basketball movies. It was like what if I was like Space Jam? Like White Men Can't Jump made Rosie Perez. Also made Woody Harrelson. Also was great. That's the kind of bisexual. I'm sorry. That's the kind of bisexual. That's the kind of like movie from the 90s that I really, really feel like it's one of those kinds of movies that like everyone knew like was a zeitgeist movie. Everyone saw it. And I miss those kinds of movies that like you can literally be like, you guys redo the let's put on White Men Can Jump or like, the structure of that. Anyway, Love and Basketball. Love and Basketball. I've never seen Love and Basketball. Okay. Um, are there good is that a really good basketball movie and should I see it? Okay. Um, Tyler gets really pissed when Kia comes back with the fucking basketball, right? And so she's like, "All right, what's happening here?" Uh, I already said that I would move here. You already told me that you'd be accepting of a child as gay, and that makes me really, really happy. Um, but if you're not gonna fucking do this, then I'm gonna fucking leave. And so she storms out because he won't finish the sentence and won't tell her, Tyler, that he is leaning towards or into her more than Kia. And she cries back in the chambers, and Kia knows why. And it's kind of like this weird moment off camera where she's like, that's a good man. And then Kevin's like, no, I was just expressing how I felt, which is that I was confused. And she took it to mean I wasn't interested. And that happens twice in this season so far, where a man expresses either confusion or being scared or not knowing or some sort of not having resolution or resolve in their choice and it really deeply affecting the woman. Now it's interesting because in some moments I'm like I get it, like you want to allow someone to process something. It's a hard thing to just suddenly be like, get married or not. But the truth of the matter is, I think it also takes a due diligence of realizing if you aren't even in the place to be in that experiment. And I think ultimately, of course, that's what Kevin's about. So basically, then Tyler comes back and after the redo, and Kevin's like, yeah, you are currently my girl, and she's like so happy. But then she gets upset later because she realizes that like he doesn't he does definitely making Kia feel great. Still totally fine. Kevin won't assure Tyler that like he has made a choice and that it's her. And so she is upset and when he won't ultimately, obviously say her, she's like, you either make a grand gesture or I'm leaving. And he's so confused by that. And then the next day, he goes to meet up with her and he hasn't done anything. And she bounces. And he's like, what? And we're like, Kevin, no, just pick one or not. I mean, like, or not be on the show. I think that's what it is. I think that's what I go back to. I think that at some point you're just like, if my goal is to get to the altar, then my goal is get to an altar and not to get befuddled or caught up and I don't know which one. Especially if, and I hate to say this, both women are very nice. I don't understand why it was so hard for him to pick. One was just really sweet to him, and one he liked talking to a little more. But the thing about it is, neither one were good matches for him because he is not in a place to be a good match for anyone. And also, both women like were trying too hard, especially in the beginning. It is so hard though, because it's like, here's the thing. How do you maintain like a non-reactive self, maybe even stoic, so that people can process in front of you their emotions and you don't hold on to one word or one thing in a hyper focused way that like you personally you personally take as an attack. How are you like, this is a human and they're just processing, and I'll allow them to do that. But also be like, I also love myself and I want someone who knows what's happening. Tyler, I think, intrinsically knew that this man wasn't picking her and didn't even have the capacity to, and didn't value or see her as being special enough to just be like, oh no, Tyler, it's you. Let's tell Kia, like, let's do this with you, Tyler. So Kevin is worried then now because obviously Tyler's gone, that Kia is going to be the second choice because she is, because that's what it is. And thankfully, before Kevin can propose, Kia sings that she's not falling in love with him. And the way that she does it is so great because she's basically has listened to Kevin slowly talk and not talk about his feelings and non decisions over the course of this whole time, got him a goddamn watch. And he had never asked her where she was at. So she has the due diligence to be like, hey, Betty, so we've definitely talked a lot about where you're at and where you're not at. And now you're clear that you want to be with me because Tyler left. So thank you for that. Before we get engaged or anything, before you get down on one knee, do you just want to hear what I think? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not in love with you. At all, buddy. Nope. I'm sorry. No. And then she's like, you're not ready to be anyone's husband. And in her confessionals, she says, I chose me, bitches. The fuck. And I'm like, yeah, thank God. I'm like, I know that after this, those two girls had a great night out. They like hopefully did whatever they needed to do. Like they got on the dance floor together. They like polished a bottle of wine together. They got massages together. I don't know what they did together, but hopefully they got to just really be like, what the fuck? You know, it's unfortunate because, he does talk almost so slow that it does almost feel like I'm talking about someone who maybe has a processing delay. I mean, the way they edited him talking where I wouldn't be able to stand it. And then, yes, in some of the edits, they even show the girls like having to wait through a sentence being like, I wouldn't, I couldn't. I, I am someone who is incredibly impatient. That is like one of the things I'm working on. It's why my impatience makes me second guess red flags. Like that is the part of me that I'm like, it's like when you see a red flag sometimes you're like, is that it? Or is my reaction a little too big? Or my perception a little too close-minded? I can't quite tell. Can't quite tell. So and I think that's why Tyler went back and did a redo, and why people sometimes stick around because they're like, is it me? It's not, it wasn't the ladies though. He's whatever. So, yeah, it's interesting. Both of them really just were like, I love myself. So, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Yeah, it was incredibly inspirational to watch, and it was a beautiful ending to that shit show. It was exciting. And yeah, he really just seemed so lost at the idea. So let's get into Emma, 27, who works in retail, Mike, 29, sales manager, Connor, who's 31, who sells dumpsters, Bree, 33-year-old, she calls herself Breezy, who's in product development, Chris, 32, who works in software sales, and Jessica, a 38-year-old doctor, who also is divorced. Okay, and then Loki will also meet a guy named Steven. But let's talk about it. So we start with Emma. Emma is beautiful, big eyes, like looks like, what a gorgeous face, long dark hair. She was adopted. And so her story is this. She was adopted from China when she was 2. And when she was adopted, she had birthmarks all over her body. And they required extensive surgeries because some of them were precancerous, if not whatever cancerous. And some of the surgeries left scar tissue on her arm, so much so that she felt other for that reason, and maybe, adoption, maybe other reasons as well. But it made her like specifically aware of the way people viewed her. And she is very upfront about this. And it's, obviously Love is Blind. You can't see anyone. So you wouldn't have to say any of this. But, she does, because I think that it's literally a part of herself and her personality. And I think that she is being really authentic when she talks about how she feels about things. And something like that, if it's part of your childhood, like colors you, like it does everything, colors you, And so I feel like if was to give my origin story, it's going to have a lot of like, well, I'm an only child. My parents got divorced. I was raised by my dad. Like there's the things that I feel like I say because then later on in conversation, it'll make sense why, why I might say that, so, or why I felt certain ways or how things are for me. She at first tells Steven, like this guy who has a sensitive Sensei playlist, and he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally was. I was like a late bloomer. Like, how old were you when you were like, he is wildly insensitive in this conversation and talks over her in a way that almost gives mild Coke vibes. She's not into it, but she also thankfully has the wherewithal a lot of females don't on this show. Like, there are women on the show that literally never say a thing about themselves and just have to hear, someone else's whole story and then just blink, blink and wait for them to pick them. Right. And then there's the women that are like, do you going to ask me a question about myself? No, bye. And then there's the women that say something about themselves and wait for it to be received. And then if it's received awkwardly, they don't just brush past that and then like continue on. They sort of like make a decision in real time that doesn't feel right. And I know it doesn't feel right. And I don't need to not feel right. You know what? I'm going to stop feeling not right by ending this. And yeah, is it interesting to see how people maneuver? So then she tells Mike, and Mike is, we'll realize Italian later. I think he might have said it, but for a long time, I'm like, is Mike Lebanese? Mike is Mediterranean and looks that way, just like dark hair, big eyes. And he's like, oh yeah, I also had a sort of big thing that happened when I was young too. I was like a premature baby, and my parents got through that, and it really made me value having kids and having close family and having people around. I want kids. I want a family. She's like, oh shit. Well, I don't want that. I don't know if I want it. And here's the reason why, is because I don't know my gene history and I think I'm scared. And I get why, Emma says this, but this thing that happens like very early on now becomes like the one thing about her and who she ends up being with, obviously Mike, the whole time. She also tells Connor, who obviously ends up being with Bree, and Connor honestly feels the best about the way that she says it. Like, Connor is a lovely soul. And even Emma's like, Connor's my number one. Connor's number one, but Connor's number one is Bree. Connor's big thing with Bree is that they kiki together. They ha together. Like, Bree is funny. She's loud. She's snappy. She's witty. They get to joke about Mr. Brightside. Like, he just feels, I think, really comfortable with her. Like, she has a great voice. It's kind of like a little low, kind of raspy, like she feels like someone you take shots with, and later on, it's her confidence that is like a wild turn on for him. So basically, Bree also likes Connor, but is also talking to Chris. Bree breaks up with Chris after Chris is all over the place. But Chris also is like, yeah, I just like love hanging out with Bree. It feels like I'm hanging out with a dude. And she's like, oh, who doesn't say that? Mike. I'm sorry, Connor. So then Emma, of course, moves on to just with Mike, and we realize that she is a woman that, takes meticulous time to like show her love and gives him a bunch of handwritten letters. There's a time, I don't know why I keep playing with my hair. There's a time of Love is Blind where they're like, you know what? It's time for you guys after your dates and after your theme dates and after your gifts to do some writing, to do some journaling, to do some reflection, write a poem, write them a letter. Just think about what you've been thinking. So a lot of times be like, you know what? Yeah, I was in the toilet earlier this morning and I was thinking about stuff because, production told me to. It's like an assignment, as you know. And I wrote it down in the journal because this is a school and they gave us notebooks and pens with my name on them. And so this is what I wrote. It's always just like, I always think love is scary, but right now it's not bad. It's just like, what is this? So Mike really likes Emma. I don't quite know exactly why. Because I guess in my mind, I don't see their connection, except that they both had like traumatic events kind of like when they were young. But they don't seem yeah, they seem very friendly. But it definitely seems like she doesn't want to have kids. There was just what, Mike, no one else there that wanted to have kids? I don't understand. But they boo up. After also he tells us that he was once in $23,000 in debt. And I was like, how'd you get out of that? But he says it's amazing to fall in love when he actually meets Emma with someone of a different race for the first time. And we're like, oh. Sometimes I'm like, it's neither here nor there. Like, I think it's weird. I think it's weird sometimes to be like, it's amazing to fall in love with someone of a different race. I mean, I want that to happen. I want everyone to fall in love, but to be like, what are you expecting out of that? What are you putting on that person? And also, are you excited that that says something? What about you? I don't quite know. It's like you'd have to tell me what that meant. Um, they're cute when they see each other. Connor is nervous when he has his reveal with Bree, but Bree is like so bubbly that she like just kind of just like yeah, she keeps talking so much. She talks so much that like he barely has time to be nervous. I think that she talks so much that he's just like, oh, okay, well, great. I can just stand here. And Connor is so attractive. He's so tall. Um, obviously, I don't mean to keep talking about the tallness, but obviously, since I've watched this season so far, it's going to come into play that Connor is tall and that certain people aren't. So that's why I brought it up. When Jessica and Chris see each other, like they're hugging, it doesn't feel great. It does feel little like a mismatched kind of like mom, like with like some stepson. But then, honey, after that, that's the end of the pods. And like I say, we go to Mexico, except for Vic and Christine, and we'll find out why. But we start with like the dates in Mexico, and like some people go like horseback riding, and some people just play frisbee. Jordan, yeah, Jordan and Amber just have to play frisbee. Like, I'm sorry, can I get the spa day? Like, can I get the day where we learn how to surf, or can we do anything else? Oh my God. Um, Amber has, did I say Ashley? Oh, I'm so sorry. Ashley and Alex, Amber, or maybe I did mess it up. Amber and Jordan, obviously, Ashley and Alex. So when everyone kind of meets in Mexico that are in Mexico for the first time, it's an interesting look because people immediately judge themselves based upon how strong the other couples are. And I think that that part is like kind of gross and kind of production-y. Like I wouldn't understand why you would do that unless you're like, what couple production is probably going to follow because they're the strongest. Like I think there's like unseen, unsaid things about it. Pretty much everyone bones the first night except for Devonte and Brittany. So also we find out that Jordan has a CPAP machine, but you know what? Amber's okay with it. Brittany has been celibate, but she also is like obviously like a hot girl who like wants to like, be petted and feel taken care of. For some reason, I feel attuned to Britney in a way. Brie, I have like some it's funny, like, there's moments of me where I'm like, I'm kind of like Brie, but also kind of like Britney and also, like, not like anyone on the show. Like, I'm definitely not like Amber and definitely not like Ashley, and I don't think I'm like Emma at all, but anyway, my moments would be probably yeah. So, it starts to be this thing where you're like, Devontae should be so obsessed with Britney, like, she's so hot, right? Like, and she is, like, like, she's super sexy, and he's just kind of like, "Do, do, do." And obviously, she was like, "I'm not gonna have sex with him at first," or whatever, and he starts to, like, kind of turn off and, like, literally and figuratively. And it's interesting because, obviously everyone's meeting for the first time, and there's, like, a moment where Alex, who obviously started off being like, "Fucking Ashley's eyes are taking me over," is suddenly, I guess, pulling a Britney and it's like, "You know what? She's not my type. Not my type." I'll tell you what type I like, Britney. I like them tiny, curvy, body yaddy yaddy, dark hair, dark eyes. It's like, yeah, I think that, like, just as a female, you don't get over it. I can't get over it. I wouldn't get over it. I wouldn't. There's just not a chance in hell. There's not what like, here's the thing. Ashley's a beautiful woman, right? Ashley's beautiful. Brittany is beautiful. Both women are beautiful. They're ideals. Ashley looks like a goddamn Barbie. If I was with someone who on camera was like, yeah, listen, I don't usually like Chris's type. I like really skinny, blue-eyed, blonde models. It's my type. Like no tits. I like fashion tits, whatever he's gonna say. I don't know the opposite of me. Tiny, or he could be like, listen, let me just say, like, I wouldn't go up to Chris, like, she's not my ideal type. My ideal type, I love like a tiny little spinner. I love like a little petite woman I just want to like put up against a wall. Like, if you tell me that I am not attracted to you or you're not, or your ideal type, and that you have no capacity to understand that I would not be able to fuck you ever again upon hearing that, then I don't know what to tell you. Is my sexuality is so much, unfortunately, wrapped up in a couple of things. It's like, I certainly have to find you interesting and attractive for sure, but also you have to find that in me. Like, you have to. So much so that, like, if I know you don't, you're dead to me, like dead. You might as well not be alive or walking this earth. Like, I will just see right through you, Mr. Cellophanes. Like, it's like I do have the capacity to just be like, you no longer exist. That's fine. I don't know, it's like maybe like a self-protection mechanism, but like, yeah, I just wouldn't get over it. You would be like, "Oh, just don't take it personally. I like you now. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have usually just ever been with like a girl that has, like, a little more pounds on her." Whatever he would say to me, I would be like, I don't understand how God, a judge, any person would expect me to look at you this way. I can't even consider seeing your penis. I would not be able to deal with it. I would bat it away. I would just, like, I couldn't. It would be repulsive. So it would be repulsive to me. I just don't understand how it happens. Okay, so obviously Alex is like, Brittany, it's you. Basically, they set up this thing where you're like, is Brittany and Alex gonna fuck? Because Brittany's already told everyone that she's not that into Devontae. And then at this point, she's like, I'm not gonna have sex with him. And then Alex is like, I mean, doing a 180. Truly. So basically, Brittany is like, you know what? To Devontae later, is like, I don't know if this is like what I'm feeling, but there's been a disconnect between like us and the pods. Like, I just don't know what's happening. Like, yeah, I didn't say I want to have sex, but now it's like I do want to have sex. In fact, can we have sex? And he's like, whatever. I'm just like craving contact. And like, can we have a connection? And he's like, man, it's just, no, I'm just like, I'm totally fine. Just sometimes I'm not in the mood and just I want to be in a nothing box. Okay. I think that okay, it's interesting. Word choice is interesting. I think it's interesting to be like, I'm sorry. I think I'm overwhelmed by the entire process, and and you're like my best friend here. I want to be here for you, but also sometimes I think I'm having like disassociative moments. So I think that like maybe you're watching me like process in real time, like what the fuck's happening. And so, yeah, like I think I'm just like, that's what's happening. But for him to say that he's in a nothing box, it's like, are you aware of what's happening mentally with you? Are you in a depressive state, or are you in a dissociative state, and do you know that, or are you disconnecting and are you aware of that, or you're saying that this is what's happening? Are you actively fighting against it? Is this a pattern of behavior? Is this how you work? Are you an introvert? Do you are you is it I mean, it doesn't feel okay. It's one thing to say what you do, but also how you can work with the other person so that they can survive you, you know? I don't know, can work with you. For him to say that he gets quiet in a nothing box and then period, as if that should be reason enough. No, just because it's almost like, yeah, sometimes listen, I don't want to connect. Sometimes I just want to like not have to talk. Okay. What, every day? And also, are you depressed? And is this thing where, she's just talking all the time? There's been a lot of times in the show where someone's like, "You just talk all the time," and sometimes I just wanna, like, not talk. And sometimes people like Connor is like, "Bree, you talk all the time." I love it. Um, Ashley starts to also feel, I think, that, like, Alex is weird and pulled away, and she obviously had sex with him right away, and she was, like, been so obsessed with him, she jumped on that penis, whatever. But she also starts to realize that he doesn't make tangible, like great concrete ideas and or statements about her and their future at all. Like he's just like, yeah, when I maybe do coaching. He doesn't seem to be like my future wife, I can't wait for us to buy this home. Like she wants someone who is just like, yeah, we're going to get a 3-bedroom place here and you're going to plant bougainvillea and I'm you know, want a life with you. He has pretty much, and he will continue to not be in a place to be married. I don't know why he came on the show. He's somewhat obsessed with his story and holding on to everything that makes someone single and not settled. I think in the same way of like not making a decision for like Kevin, where he's just like, like being rude by not making a decision because it's not taking into account someone else's shade experience and their time and energy. It's the same thing where I'm like, you can't just keep saying that you're going to move around from city to city and not make a decision. If you are also claiming to want to be married to someone, how the fuck is that person supposed to be doing shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think it's so hard. Okay, so I wrote these down. Alex knows how to talk a certain talk. It's like he's a street smart guy that's like gotten by and thinks he can just do enough. He's like, yeah, like he understands that a certain like cockiness or bravado-ness like makes up for lack of a structure. So he feigns at being confident or not nervous in the relationship that he has with Ashley. And like that alone, his not nerves should pacify her. When she intrinsically feels like you should be nervous because we don't really have a lot to build on. After everyone meets, also Bree starts to have this thing where she obviously wanted to like seek Chris, and Chris was whatever, but she also expected people to have like deep conversations with everyone like they did in the pods, but everyone had booed up at this point and like didn't feel the need to sit down and have like one-on-one long eye contact conversations with everyone anymore. And it obviously is annoying, but it does feel this way. Intrinsically, everything also becomes like a seventh grade dance where it's like sexes get segregated, right? Everyone's like, well, my boys in the pod and my girls in the pod. And then it's just like boys and girls. And always like, it's always like, well, who fucked the first night? It's always the same stuff. And who looks like what? And maybe the guys get to get like who's hot, who's not, whatever. Um, Again, also the conversations of which couples are the strongest. But when Brie comes to Connor and is like, no one cares about like having deep convos, Connor is kind of like, why would you want to have any other conversations with anyone else? I should be enough. Brie's like, no, you're not. But also, are we like, Brie, did you want Chris and you to like have like a deep convo? Mike is like, Emma's messy. you know, that's kind of like their thing. And the one thing that he'll give her besides the fact that like she doesn't want to have kids. I don't know. God, it's like I guess to me, Mike and Emma don't have a sexy relationship. And it's not just like, it's just like, I don't know why they like each other. They're just not like flirtatious. Is that the word? I just like, I think that like I'm so sorry. When I'm talking about wanting like flirtatious banter or witty banter, I like the kind of like eyebrow raise and like a little like sauciness. Like I love like cheekiness. I love when like there's just like a certain kind of fun back and forth that titillates. And I think two things are true. This show might not be real. And so since people aren't really falling in love, you're not really getting like those authentic conversations. Or B, that doesn't happen for everyone. I just cannot imagine falling in love without it. Um Also, I'm surprised that Emma is messy because parts of her seem like she has her shit together so much. Um okay. So the rest of Mexico goes pretty chill where you know, it's interesting because I wish that we had gotten I wish we okay. I wish hmm. Later on, obviously, there's going to be some stuff with Chris, and it's weird that nothing really happens. Like Chris and oh my god, Brie, Chris and Brie in Mexico, like barely talk, barely anything happens. You know what I'm saying for them? Obviously, there's just a lot of Brie looking at Chris with adoration in her eyes, like the way Connor looks at Brie. She's just constantly looking at him like I don't quite know why, but she does feel smitten. Then there's, of course, everyone goes home and they get to kind of like get back to reality and they get like a second meetup. And oh, sorry, I lied. So they go back home. They go back home, obviously, and as they kind of unpack everything, what ends up happening is Chris has a conversation with Brie that is wildly offensive. And it starts off by being like, "Hey girl, hey. You're not my typical type. My typical type is a gym rat. My typical type gets in that gym and works out." And we're staring at him and we're like, "You do not have a gym body." He's like, "I like a CrossFit girl or a girl that's always doing Pilates." We're like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" Chris has like one eye that's like almost swollen shut. He is and I don't wanna body shame him, but, like, there is nothing about him, and I mean this, his stature or anything, his muscle tone, not nothing, his face, nothing, that would ever warrant him to have any physical restrictions on anyone. No one looks at that person and is like, "That person works out every day." I mean, to watch Brie have to listen to this is just like, this is a fucking nightmare. We're like strangling him with her. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saving people's lives at the hospital." Are you insane? Brittany, yeah. So it's just he couple of things. He, I think, wants to be on the show. He had two choices. He knew that Brittany was sorry. He knew, yeah. I'm sorry, Bree. Did I mess up? Oh no, I hate messing up names. Okay, let's make sure that I said everything right. I'm sorry, my loves. Jessica. Ah, it's hard to do. You know, it's my own fault. Okay, my loves. Let me go back. And Christina, you're gonna have to like if you're doing this. Let me go back. So Chris back in Ohio ends up having a conversation, obviously who he's with, and that's Jamie, the doctor. Jamie's a doctor. She is a kind of petite, like 5'2" doctor, and she saves people's lives all day long. That's her life. Okay. God bless it. And fucking, I don't care what Chris does. Chris has the audacity to sit down in this woman's beautiful home that she bought for herself. And Chris does something where he thinks that he has a lot of money, okay, for some reason. And I hate that for him. God bless. But at the same time, he can say a lot and do a lot, but like what it is. So he's like, Jamie, you're not my type. My type, CrossFit. My type, getting up and doing a 6:10 a.m. class. Like, he's like, you know what? Or Pilates. I love like a Pilates princess, you know? And she, again, is like, that's crazy. I work a wild job with wild hours that takes from me, you won't even know, but also gives me a really great income. That's the, and that's what it is. And the truth of the matter is, I wonder when you are like in a big hospital, when you're a doctor, like, I wonder how many steps she gets on her. Some part of me feels like Jamie gets, 17,000 steps a day. And the truth of the matter is, it's good to work out if you don't get 17,000 steps a day, like the way that, of course, Chris says it is that he wants to be like, I want a fit girl. Like, I want a girl with like a hard body. Like, I want a girl when she gets naked that I like what I look at. But the way for me to say it is that I want her to go work out every day when he, again, looks like he has never seen a gym. I mean, he doesn't look like he knows a healthy choice at all, unless maybe it was the healthy choice that his mom popped in a microwave and then like, the 2000s, because Chris is like, I'm rich act also somewhat feels like he in fact is poor. And I hate to say that word, but here we are. I've now shamed this person in every way. But you do sign up for that if you are going to be so horrible. I mean, yeah. He has the audacity to say that she is basically not fit enough and he's not attracted enough to her and that the sex would be bad and that he thinks that he deserves uh, a hot woman to have better sex with for the rest of his life. I don't understand also why it's so difficult to be like, it's she's a beautiful woman. I'm realizing that love isn't blind for me. I'm not emotionally mature enough to say love is blind. I'll be honest. I had an okay connection with her in the pods. I also liked Brie. And when I saw Jamie, I wasn't like, oh, I want to marry her. And then she kind of is really into me, which kind of started to make me feel like I don't want to lead her on. So that's it. I just don't want to lead you on. I don't think it's gonna work out. Because it's still like devastating to hear that. But it's so much easier to hear that than you don't work out every day. And that's what I require. Anyway. Connor is so adorable. And I almost feel like as these episodes in the middle happen, Chris's ugliness, his like somewhat demon sidekickness, like somehow reverse halo affects Connor, where Connor then becomes wildly beautiful to me. I mean, like, and I think that that is just like hormonal because I'm just like, I hate that man. And then I like Connor comes on and he's like, telling Brie how much he's in love with her and how everything she does is just perfect and how everything, I'm not saying that he's perfect and I get some things that like wouldn't be the greatest, but he does get hotter and hotter every time the camera just like falls on his face. So I see what I did. Okay. So basically, at this point, everyone meets family, and it's kind of I wish I could say things were great and like certain things were like super important. I'll tell you what's important. Alex meets Ashley's dad, and Ashley's dad looks just like Ashley, and Ashley's dad's a fucking lawyer. And Ashley's dad takes 2 seconds to scan Alex up and down and be like, no, I object, Your Honor. I'm a lawyer. I object. You're not anything. He grills and crossfires Alex so much, and Alex fucking tap dances on a bed of coals for her dad. I mean, but he's not good enough. I mean, this is a high powered lawyer who's made a lot of money. They're at a fancy steakhouse. The steak comes. He asks him a question. Are you going to be there for my daughter? Are you going to say yes? Do you love my daughter? Will you be there at the altar? And Alex is like, yeah. The dad's like, you looked down, buddy. He's like, only at the steak. I looked to the right of the steak. He's like, no, you looked to the left. I looked to the right. And then, and then has to realize that he lied to his dad and he got caught. He will lie to anyone. And it happens right there. And he knows it. The dad knows it. I mean, the way that he's like, yeah, are you gonna ask my blessing? I'm not. Well, you're not gonna get it. Like it's just so cocky. It's so crazy. At one point, of course, he's like, "Who'd you vote for?" And Alex is like, "Trump." Just kidding. I actually didn't vote. Just kidding. I wasn't here, but I would have. He's like, "It's a cop out." Love Trump though. Love crypto. Love Trump. Love Melania. Love it all. I love all the ice. I mean, it's really at this point where we're like, all right, well, then whatever the fuck happens to you, Ashley. Okay. Whatever happens, babe, have fun, have the fuck fun. I mean, because it's like, there's a couple of things here. If Ashley was smart and if Ashley's dad was worth anything, Ashley's dad would immediately upon end of this would be like, oh, you're not marrying him. He's lying to you in every way. He's a fuck boy. And whether he does or not, Ashley doesn't act like he does. He's like, yeah, Ashley's picker's been off. It's funny because Ashley's dad's like, I'll tell you the one piece of advice is that you always got to make sure that whatever decision you do, you put your loved ones before you. Make sure that it wouldn't affect them bad. Make sure that they're taken care of. Now I'll tell you, never did that. All I did is care about making money for my family. And Alex hears that and it's like, great, me too. But Alex knows intrinsically that he is failing against Ashley's dad, that it is the most important and best parent meetup, although it also is cringy. Alex feels not great. Alex doesn't feel like he has a lot of dignity to the words he says or how he like thinks and views himself. It feels like his view of himself and who he is are vastly fucking different. Yeah. There's like a scariness to sometimes, like the idea of someone who thinks that they are one way, but all of their actions, all of their behaviors, and where they are currently in their life is so obviously not that. So what are you at Comic-Con? What are you in a costume? What is it? He wants so badly to be just like a really rich like tech guy almost, but also just wants to play soccer. The thing about Alex I think is that he can't possibly be happy. He won't ever be happy. He's not happy. And I think that he likes to wield a certain amount of power to exercise like, you know, a validation he gets because it's not going to happen on the soccer field. When you're good at something, like wildly good at something enough to be pro or enough to get drafted or enough to be a captain. That's just like your identity and your confidence gets so ingrained in that one thing. And that if it's taken away, like how you find the ability to move on is hard. You know, something I say to myself because I'm not an athlete, but I've done comedy, like, obviously in Los Angeles. And it's something that's like true, I guess, for artists, but if you're, again, a comic or a theater artist, this can ring true. Like, your artistry is bigger than one space, one place, one institution, one friendship, one relationship. Like, if one, I think there was a certain preciousness that we have of like, if it's not this, it's nothing. But, who we are, like the magnitude that we hold is like bigger than just one thing. And I think that Alex has not gotten past his failure. And whether it's because like he doesn't have the capacity to, like, psychologically and emotionally to rectify how he feels about himself and establish a new version of himself that he like feels confident in. It's why I think that he's so back and forth about where to live and stuff like that. Also, as we'll get into, it's because he seemingly is absolutely in love with his ex. Absolutely in love with his ex. He has a couple of exes. He has this thing where it's like, oh, the one that broke your heart, the one that you learned a lesson from. And the one that he learned a lesson from is the lesson is he's still in love with that person. And this comes out in a wild way because I think what keeps happening is that he's boring and he never asks Ashley about anything in her life. All he does is tell her things, like talk about himself, but he doesn't hear how it comes out. And she's smart. She's also been raised by like a guy like who's taught her to put two and two together. So as he's said enough of the same bullshit stories, but they've changed details enough, she's been like, but that's different the first time. And obviously you're not asking me any questions about myself. So it isn't like you can distract me from asking you questions by just once asking me something. That's the fucking secret. He doesn't. His options are tell more bullshit lies about me or sit in silence. Yeah, it's funny because I thought he was so smart for the whole like I can't stop with your eye thing. It'd be bad if you learned the tool to, like, I don't know, ask her a question about herself when you want to distract and deflect from yourself. Okay. But basically she's like, wait, so you were living in New Zealand and then you moved to Ohio and then you wanted to move to Austin? No, he's like, oh, I lived in Cleveland the whole time. And then of course later on they do have a second meetup after, of course, Chris breaks up with Bree. Everyone comes. Bree, Chris is a fucking nightmare. We'll get into that and I'll go back and forth. Kia comes, Kevin comes, Tyler doesn't come. And then all Alex's friend Priyanka comes. Priyanka was in the pods. We didn't know her, but she's brought back because why? She knew Alex. So Alex says something was like, yeah, I knew Priyanka was there, but I didn't want to like ruin her experience. So I didn't say that I knew her. I'm like, okay, lie. And then basically we also realized that Priyanka doesn't give a fuck about Alex, can smell the fuck boy on him, and immediately is like, my girl Ashley. So Ashley should also almost, I feel like, subtly feel the fact that Priyanka knows shit about Alex and isn't being at all like, girl, you got a good one. Like, think about it logically. If you knew someone who was a good guy and you go on a show like Love is Blind and that person's there, and then you have a friend and that person picks that guy, you'd be like, girl, I didn't even know that Alex was going to be on the show. But it's so funny. Like, Alex has always been great. Alex was great. It's just that, maybe when I first met him, he was dating my friend, or he just had, he's living with a roommate, or he didn't know if he had his life together. But it's been a couple of whatever. And he looks lovely. And he's always been so nice and always so gracious and so dignified, always carried himself with like such honor. That's not what she says. She's 10 feet down being like, what are you telling my girl? And what he's saying is a bunch of wildness. He's like, yeah, no, I do have the ex. Yeah. The thing about it is Well, let's talk about this. Alex Alex doesn't have a Alex doesn't have a dad. His mom is a truck driver and, also a nomadic. Ashley's dad is a lawyer and her whole family's together. And it does feel like social, economic wise, they're on different states. Ashley's family seems like they're doing maybe like financially a little better. Neither here nor there. I'm not saying that Alex's mom doesn't have a freedom to move around or whatever. But it's a different vibe for sure. Um, when Ashley got to meet Alex's mom, she was like, "Can you tell me about any of the other women in his life?" And I don't know, it's such a weird question to ask because intuitively you're like, your first time to meet someone's mom, you're going to ask about other women in his past. Why? Why wouldn't you be like, what was he like as a kid? Tell me about his favorite Christmas. Like, what are like some recipes he likes? Or what was like the dumb things that he did? Or what was his first word? Or uh, what is he like when, he's having trouble communicating? Or what are some things that could really, help us communicate? What are some things that as a mom, you literally could ask a mother, or a father, anything, a parent, anything important about someone that you love. And when her first question is like, tell me about the other woman, it's you're jealous and you feel like you don't know things that you want to know. And why didn't you ask him? So wild. So obviously, yes, he has an ex. The ex lives in Austin, and he did not answer questions clearly of when he was with her. He's like, I was with her in September, but I was uh but yeah, then I was here in October. So yeah, no, I broke things off after I fucked her in September. Well, because she had a boyfriend, because I was living in Austin with her, but going back and forth, like he lies. And when he's found out, he's not like, let me just put it all out there. He gets angry at Priyanka, his friend. He's shitty towards her. Priyanka's like, okay, well, I'm going to fucking leave. Also, don't you understand this is a bad look for you? No, he doesn't. Um, oh, I moved on. So let's move back. So obviously, Chris is disgusting and comes to this party having broken up with Jamie, and all the girls are like, "Fuck you," and all the guys are like, "Is he that bad?" And he tries to give his piece, and at first he gives his piece to Bree, like, "I'm just not that attracted to someone who doesn't work out," and Bree almost feels like she's buying it, and we're like, "Girl, no." And we don't understand. Like, he gets confronted by like Ashley, and you can tell Ashley is just like, "I hate you." Amber Amber is literally shooting daggers at Chris in her eyes, and I'm so happy for her. I will say one thing about Amber also. I think that Amber is the kind of woman that either does drink, if there's alcohol out, she will drink, or she's the kind of woman that has a little too much to drink, or she's the kind of woman that I just can tell when she's been drinking. For the next 5 episodes, it does sort of feel like every time we see Amber, she's kind of a little tipsy. Which, here's the thing, those gold mugs are everywhere, and they want them to be this way. Um, but it's, I clocked it, and I think that you guys do too. So Amber is even talking at one time to Chris, and Chris is like, "I know you hate me," and Amber's like, "Oh yeah, no, I think you're gross." Then we get a very long conversation with Chris and Bree, where he puts it all out there. And the way it's edited makes us feel like Bree doesn't say anything for a very long time, when that can't be the case, right? But she does end up saying something, but but Chris says everything. He's like, "It should have been you. I want to be with you. I just feel like we should be in fuck buddies. Like, I'll tell you that Connor's too submissive. You need me. You need me an alpha. You need an alpha male. You need someone who's just going to like help you make decisions or just make decisions for you. You need someone who enjoys the 4 seasons, who doesn't mind." I'm just like now talking just like Trump, who doesn't mind just putting some points of American Express for the 4 seasons. The thing with Brie is that she is a go-getter and she's loud and she like, is a driven person. And whether it's a storyline and they just keep hammering it into our heads, Connor is like, I'm just a blue collar guy that owns, whatever trash heaps, barrels, what's it called? Trash cans, dumpsters. And she's like, I want it all. And he has like a whole ass house. It's just that it's not like put together. And he's like a gamer and there's like a keg. I mean, I think that I don't know. Sometimes I think that like dudes like Connor are kind of just sort of waiting for someone with better taste to just be like, "Yeah, this is the canvas. Let me have at it. I'm a Picasso." You know what I'm saying? And like I think that Bree is a little bit like that, and I think that he kind of is that's kind of I think why he's like it really makes me happy that you're so confident. I really get off on you being so driven. And the fact that you choose me makes me feel like I'm the shit because you're the shit. If I think you're the shit and you think I'm the shit, then we are both the shit. It's interesting. It's not super hot to hear that. It's not hot to hear. It's like there's so many hot things that Connor says, like how obsessed he is with her and blah, 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 how much he loves her. But it's like a weird thing to hear. I don't really have a lot of self-confidence in myself. I feel insecure about myself. So the fact that you would like me, I mean, that's enough. It's like, oh, because it almost makes you then have that thing where it's like, I don't want to be part of a club that would have me as a member. You don't, everyone, I think that people want to connect with confident, independent people. And it's a thin line between like when someone feels like someone's too much or too needy or too or not or too insecure. And then also when someone just wants to connect and show love and show, the ability to be a little codependent. It's such a balance, it's such a dance. So after Chris pleads his case to Bree, Connor, doesn't know that he has like a friend that's a fucking asshole yet. Bree hears all that and is like, I would not be able to do this experiment without Connor. So no, gross. Chris then leaves and then tries to talk to Jamie. And Jamie's like, hey. And he's like, hey, I just haven't heard from you. And she's like, yeah, it's because we are not going to be together. I never want to see you again. I thought we were on the same page. And he's like, well, I would just love to like maybe like hang out. And she's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. What's wrong with you? I'm a doctor. I don't have time. If I allowed you to think that you had access to my time, that was a gift. And I resend it. I'm taking it back, honey, to sender. I returned it at Target. You no longer have access. I've changed the key code. I've changed the key code. You no longer have access. You've been denied. That's, yeah. At one point, I was like, is Chris going to go to Priyanka or Kia and be like, hi, guys, anyone want to be on the show with me? Still can make it to the altar. Just like, let's gold cup it up. I mean, it is funny. At some points, people are like, Chris is wasted. And he does look wasted. That one eye is even getting, shorter. I don't know how you get an eye short, but honey, like one eye is just closing and he is short. He has to know. I want to know, like, he has to know how shitty of a look this is and how much people are only happily licking their fangs to feast on his carry-on. You can't be that shitty like in this day and age when people are like, up to their wits' end with like fucking atrocity and not know that people are going to be happy to come together against a common enemy. You. So he texts, Bree again after the next night or whatever, or I'm sorry, after that night. Well, one small thing happens where unfortunately Jordan is like talking to the dudes and he's like, yeah. So here's the thing. Jordan had met Amber's baby daddy, Emma's baby daddy, but not Emma yet or whatever. And he obviously, as I said, didn't want to be with a woman with a kid and obviously fell in love with Amber and now is like into it. And he bought her a small thing and he's a cool dude and he likes to eat and he's just a little scared. He kind of does that thing where he's like, I just am experiencing feelings. And he says those feelings out loud. And then Amber, who's not really in the conversation, hears that, but takes it personally. And she's Emma's mom. I'm sorry, yeah, her daughter's name Emma. And so, she's like, "Oh, if you're not fucking ready for this, if you're not like wanting this, then no." And it's a protection mechanism. And I get this. It's something Amber will then say later that she is like fight or flight, and she's mostly like flight. Like is someone that like if things get hot, she will eject. And I feel that hardcore. Yeah. Uh Especially, and I don't even have a child. Someone who, I mean, I do that because I feel like I have to protect my heart. If I felt like I had to protect a whole ass child, I don't even know how I would let anyone get by me, especially if that person didn't have a kid. I think that I would assume if I had a child that the next person I would have to be would have to intrinsically know what it's like to have a child and also like have the respect and space for that for me. And I'm not saying Jordan doesn't. I think that Jordan is just, just whatever, a little daft, a little drunk, and says something out loud. And then, yeah, Amber hears it. And he, is devastated. And he eats pizza by himself, which been there, done that. Okay. So Chris texts Bree and then they put in like vanishing mode and Connor gets a little gels, but he like trusts her. She ends up introducing Connor to her whole family and they all love Connor. And then she starts to have this like narrative that Connor isn't getting the best version of her. That like for the past weeks it's been hard work that she's been shitty, which is like weird for us because literally of all the people of every single person on the show, no one is in love with, well, I guess okay. Christine is in love with Vic. And whether I think, Vic could be in love with Christine. But the way that Christine looks at Vic and the way that Connor looks at Brie can be studied. It is a look of love. The look of love is in your eye. Honey, some Diana Krall. Okay, so he again is just like, thank you for choosing me. Like he's just like, I'm bleeding into like a broken heart of like nothing matters but you. And basically, she then starts a conversation where she's like, "Let me tell you, I I've been mean to you." And we're like, "Yeah, girl, but you definitely have." Like she talked so much shit about his house when he had a house. Like the keg, we're like, whatever. I mean, yeah, a keg is annoying, but also like just get the keg removed. Like, unless he's gonna fight you over the keg, I don't quite understand. To me, it's like, yeah, some dudes just like don't have put together manicured fucking backyards. Not a big deal. But she's like, I just looked at that home that you bought yourself, and I just was like, what a lazy asshole, I hate you. And I was like, why do I feel that way when he loves me so much? We're like, what is this conversation? And then she's like, I just didn't know if like I could be with someone who just wasn't gonna out alpha me. And we're like, oh my God, are you gonna break up with Connor what to be with Chris? What the fuck are you checked into the Four Seasons right now? Brie, what are you saying? But then she's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in love with you and spend the rest of my life with you, or if you are just merely a lesson learned. And the lesson is what it's like to be loved by someone. And that is devastating to hear. And he hears it. It's like it's so interesting because I don't know how I would get over that. I think that I need, first of all, I'm single. And I think as you're hearing is maybe because I'm like somewhat stringent. Like, I don't know how I would get over that. Oh, okay. Well, If I'm okay, so if yeah, if you don't know if you're in love with me, and if I could be merely like a passing lesson to you, where like I have no humanity and no physical form that's important to you at all, but just someone that did something in your life, and who cares whatever the fuck happens to me and my heart, if that's how you can view me and then say that to my face, oh, good. Thanks for telling me. Then you know what? I am a lesson. I guess I'd be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm a lesson. I'm a lesson and you're a lesson for me. And the lesson is, oh, no. No. Yeah, it's really insulting. And he couldn't be more like, I'm sorry. I don't know how to say this to you. If this is the worst version of you, I'm in love with it. I don't even know how it gets better. Every time you've been mean to me or talked about the keg, I've cried. I cry at night thinking about my obsession with my love for you and how there's no other thing up for me except you. It's just like she's like, okay, I don't know how to say it. I can't get married to you. I'm gonna say no at the altar. He's like, well, I would have said yes. She's like, no, I know you would have. I get that you would have said yes. I know I bypassed all the dresses and stuff. It's just that I found that it's so boring. I think the dresses part of Love is Blind is also like is always boring. And the reason why is I think that the dresses are ugly. I always feel like they're a little ugly. And I think it's like, it's interesting. They get, 4 options each. And we are of a TLC time frame. Like we know how many seasons Say Yes to the Dress was. I wonder what would happen if they ever like allowed a full episode where the girls could like go to an actual bridal shop and pick more than more from sorry, pick an option from more than like 7 dresses. Because they do the Say Yes to the Dress thing where then every person, gets the veil and the veil is supposed to make them cry, which is obviously pulled from that handbook. But the veil that they choose is just like, I mean, it looks like it's made from like Party City veil. It was like not it. You have to get something with some pearls or something. It's just so I feel like it's just so boring. Um, is to me more important about the couples. But um obviously Connor and Bree break up. Ashley and Alex. So obviously we're hot on the heels of the fact that she heard that he had lied. And when they get back from that Priyanka conversation, we're like, okay, girl, is this Ashley where you pack your away bag or your bay bag or whatever the fuck bag you have and go back to daddy's? No. I'll tell you what happens. He's like, let me just order some McDonald's. Shut you up. How many McNuggets will it take? And she's like, 10. And he orders McDonald's and she just pretends it didn't happen. She's like, I don't even know how I'm going to fit in that dress with all these McDonald's. He's like, I'm sure you'll work it out. And she's like, mm-hmm. Meanwhile, in his mind, he's like, I hope those McNuggets go to your hips. I mean, he doesn't want, I hate them. It's funny because I wonder, Ashley is not a bad person. Ashley's a fine person, like who know? I mean, the politics, who knows what hers is? We can only guess. But she must have walked into this being like, I'm hot, Alex is hot, like we're going to be like known as like the hot, sexy couple. And like Chris is obviously the villain. But besides that, no one wants them to get married. No one is like a fan of them. Like people are going to leave being a fan of Connor and being a fan of Jamie and being happy that Vic and Christine found each other. Okay. So Ashley is a tangible girl who wants tangible things like a plan. And she realizes that this man doesn't talk specifics and she doesn't understand why. And he's like, that's just my thing. Like, thanks for understanding. But there's this other part of her where she's like, no, it's just because you don't want to be with me. Because logically, like when you want something at a certain age, you understand that there's like a way to get it. And usually it's like a foresight and then having to accomplish certain tasks. certain activities to get it. Like if you want to visit Paris, you would A, make sure you have a passport. B, go online, see if there's hotels, see if there's trips. Like you can't go your whole life, with means. Let's just like you have the internet, you have money, you have the ability, and be like, I really want to go to Paris, and then never fucking once look up a hotel. You can't. I mean, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. You would do that if you want this. You'd be like, well, here are hotels. Here's airline tickets. I will push buttons. I will put in my credit card. I will make that happen because that is what I want. Like I will stay at this hotel because I know, like this is what I want. It's just very indicative. And I'm really going to say this to myself that you can piece together what someone wants, what their priorities are, and how they are planning and doing that. And I think that that's why, if people want to text you, they'll text you. If people want to see you, they'll see you. Like they'll make plans to see you. And if they're not making plans, there's a reason why it's not a priority. They don't want to do it because surely they are doing the things they want to do, and they're texting anyone they want to text or calling anyone they want to text or making plans with anyone they want to make plans with. Anyone's going to the places that they want to go to, and they're living the places they want to live. They've made choices to do that. Even if they found themselves there, that is where they are now. You can't, I mean, to think that you can like hitch yourself to someone who's just going to vagabond their way through the entirety of life, like no. But it's a hard thing, I think, to watch Ashley just be like, why? Why? And are we going to make a plan and then, wait for something that's just never going to come? At the end, they are going to have like all their little last dates. And their last date is like they go to like a really cute like fireplace, and some PA has put like twinkle lights everywhere and flameless candles. And she's like, did you plan this? And he's like, yeah. And we're like, this motherfucker can't stop lying. They have such an awkward conversation where she's like looking into his eyes and he won't look back. And she knows that that was like her thing, right? That he should make eye contact. So when they cheers and he doesn't make eye contact, she's like, bad luck in bed for 7 years. Sex, no sex, me, sex, no bed. And he doesn't give a fuck about that. He can't even ask her a question about their future, about her. He doesn't care. There's nothing happening upstairs unless he's thinking about his ex or soccer. Yeah. He just wants to coach. And the other thing about Alex, I think, is also like Alex wants to be a rich person, right? He wants to be rich. That's the whole thing. Like, I need a day trading and cryptocurrency. I mean, watching her dad listen to him talk about day trading, but only day trading the currencies of like Australia, to watch a financially literate man be talked to by someone who does not know what the fuck they're talking about and then have to swallow and sit and listen was like, it was a chef's kiss moment. Do you have a license or anything, buddy? No. Like, remember Alex was like, yeah, I was a financial manager, and then yeah, during COVID, I got whatever, and the licenses left, and so now I've been doing day trading, and it's like, well, okay, if you wanted to do that, you would just get your licenses, and it's annoying to get your licenses like Series 7 and stuff like that. He hasn't the wherewithal to it. His mom's like, he can't sit down. He wants to be on the field. As a soccer coach, it's like you can make money in soccer, definitely not in America, which maybe is like his other reason why to like hopefully to be a top tier soccer coach, you can certainly make money, but you have to like plan for that. And he seems to keep being like, I can get a job anywhere, and I've been offered this and offered that, and maybe I'll go to Florida for like a coaching job. And I guess I want to know is like, how much money is that though? Like, is that enough to like survive? Is that enough for you to feel good about yourself? He won't make any plans, like I said. He won't ask her any questions. And even like his like plans for the future have nothing to do with her nor anything that she said about her life. He's like, I picture owning a home in Florida, a potential trust in Dubai, and a safe house in New Zealand. So obviously Florida and Dubai are like tax things and like tax sheltery kind of like whatever goes alongside whatever his probably fiscal beliefs are. But the New Zealand safe house, we were like, what? Okay. I just want to know this. What is the safe house? Is this, and then also, how the fuck would you even get there if you were living in Florida and like shit really came down? How the fuck are you gonna get to New Zealand? Oh. Okay, so the Amber Jordan situation is this. So obviously, I told you she overheard him saying that he has scared to meet the kid, and at this point, we also are kind of like, either meet the kid or not. I'm surprised you haven't met Emma yet. Like, and it's going to happen off camera, but why is it happening only a day before like the wedding? And Amber is mad because she's like, I wish you had told me without just telling all the boys like how scared you are. And he doesn't say what he wanted to say, which is like, I'm scared to tell you. Also, sometimes telling women feelings are scary because they take things personally and then suddenly it's being used against us when we didn't realize how shitty the words coming out of our mouth sounded. That's what it feels like it is. Sometimes dudes are like, we just want a space to say the shitty things that are in our head without you getting really mad or personally attacked by the shitty things we're about to say. And women are like, are, I guess, supposed to be like, okay, go ahead and weather the storm of like, absolute bullshit. Um, Jordan, again, I think that honestly, Jordan wasn't that bad. Jordan was just saying that he was scared. Amber overheard it. And I do think that Amber was, and both of them were, a little tipsy. Fun night. Um, they go on like a installation activation museum date that Emma also loves. We're like, well then why Emma should I want to see the after effect of him meeting Emma. Like that should have already happened because it's too important. Like you cannot this whole time be like, he didn't want to have kids. She has a kid. She's scared to meet her. And then the last episode be like, I met her. It's either good or bad. Here's the wedding. Like, like that storyline wise to have that happen earlier would make more sense. Christine and Vic, I don't even know what to tell you. At this point, they're just so booed up. They're so booed up that you're like, well, if they don't get married, I mean, that would be like the ultimate like pulling the rug underneath from us. So like that would be like it would be an oh shit moment. It's the only thing you can do now to give us a moment of like surprise with them. I hope they get married. I mean, but I don't want that for them. I want them to get married. That is, I'll just be like, well, this is the time I watched those lovely, boring people's love story. I'm happy for them. I don't want drama for them. They're just, they're just made for each other. It almost, I guess it's like, yeah, like we don't get to see we really don't get to see them meet each other's families in a great way, right? She doesn't want she is embarrassed where she comes from, so we sort of miss that. We missed them in Mexico that I almost don't know why they're on. Even if they got boot, it's like they're on the show because they do feel like they fell in love with each other on the show. But other than that, there is no watchable storyline unless something horrible happens, and I don't want it to. Okay, so Brittany and Devonte, we don't know why she's with him. Okay, he is boring. She's fun. She's fun, and except that the fact that she came with a wedding dress, and so she obviously wants to get married, and she has a really cool family, and all of them are so awesome. She wants to get married, and she found him, and he should be obsessed with her, and for some reason, he just feels timid. Now, they have a conversation about money in her house. She has like her cute like last station and they have a conversation about money and then it's like revealed that he makes a lot more, he's financially well off. She, does her thing. She likes to spend money and she likes to have a fun cute time and she's obviously a fun hot girl. And like I said and have said, if you are with a woman that keeps up with certain things, that costs money. And I'm always annoyed, always, by straight men who want to be with women who look beautiful and are visually upkeeping themselves in a way and then even like hold it against them that they have to spend money for that. Like it's one thing if like you should help them truly, but it's also another thing to like be like, oh, you're bad with money because you overspend. When it's like, oh, well, look at the way you look and look at the way she looks. And when can you imagine what it does for you to walk into a room and be like, oh my God, she's gonna be with him? That costs money. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, people spend their money different ways. Some men spend money on stupid sports cars because it makes them feel good to drive it. And some women get manicures and pedicures every 2 weeks because it makes them feel good to look down when they're typing their shitty, boring emails, or, when I'm having to wash the tub, or when I'm having to wash a dish, or any time, to look down and see like a nail done makes me happy. And so, yeah, like he isn't he's not been welcoming or gracious with her in any sort of energetic way. And the money thing is kind of another way he doesn't do it. She's like this. She's like, hey, you literally never tell me I'm beautiful. You never say I'm pretty. And I'm sorry. I'm so hot that like the hottest guy here already tried to get a goddamn piece. Do you understand that? You you don't tell me I'm beautiful or pretty, or that you think that I look good today, or that my smile, turns you on. You don't say anything. And all that he's given is that sometimes I'm tired and sometimes this, and I don't even want to say anything now because the fact that you make it such a big thing, it's like I go against that. I don't want to do it. The minute some asshole is like, yeah, if you tell me something, I'm not going to do it, I'd be like, oh, well, then how am I going to have a relationship with you? So I'm sorry if I am like, hey, I cooked all day, cooked all of the dinner. Would you mind just like taking out the trash? So if you're saying that if I am like, will you take out the trash? You're going to be mad that I said that and then not want to do it. And I'm supposed to have an adult relationship with you for the rest of our lives. That's one thing. And the other thing is like, okay, why is it hard to tell me I'm pretty? Why is it hard to tell? It should not be hard to tell Brittany she's beautiful. She is. It shouldn't be hard to tell the person that you love they're beautiful, period. Like it just shouldn't be. Isn't that the whole point? Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They make you feel some sort of way. Like it doesn't have to be like, you're so beautiful. But like, hey babe, you look hot today. Hey, I love that dress. Or you have a little sexy look in your eye. Or your hair is so soft, or, I love the way your skin feels. There's so many things you could say that's like specific. When he said that he wasn't going to get better at that, I then was like, Brittany, why are you with this asshole? I don't know why. She's too good for him. At one point he says that he makes sometimes $40,000 in a month. And I'm like, you don't act it. You don't act like a guy that has like any sort of financial confidence, or he doesn't act like a man that is happy with himself. And I'm not saying you have to have money to be happy with yourself, but I do think that sometimes like, why isn't Devontae in a good mood? And why isn't Devontae happy about his situation being in love with a lovely lady? And why isn't he happy that he makes a lot of money, so much money that like he could help out someone he loves? But instead, he's like, you know what? Let's have a conversation right before getting married about having a prenup because I'm not going to pay for you. No one else has a conversation. And he's like, you know why I kept it to the very end? Because I need to be upset. And somehow she's like, okay, so you're saying it's a deal breaker if I don't say yes, you're telling me now? And he's like, yeah. She's like, okay, well, you know what? Let's pray on it. To me, nothing is more stoic as a reaction than her saying that. I'd be like, bye. She's like, you know what? Let's pray. And so we pray. Yeah, we pray. And yeah, we pray just to make it to, my God. I hope that at some point everyone is okay with me just singing 90s songs for the rest of our lives. Emma and Mike and like their last little date, like going on a zoo date with giraffes and lettuce. And they also are boring because it's just constantly, well, as you know, Mike, big Italian family. Mom cares about the difference between sauce and gravy, will tell you to your face, like you fucking care, as if she's going to listen to you talk about any sort of important Chinese tradition. Nope. However, and my dad will overtalk and say the same thing over and over again. God bless. I cannot imagine. At the same time, I care about babies. How do you feel about babies today, Emma? And Emma, who like had to like traverse a fucking back and forth forest of her mom and her sister and Mike all being like, well, there's differing opinions about babies. Some are great, some are bad. Some people are really resentful that they had kids. Some people are like, this is the best thing of my life. I'll be honest, I love my kids. Her sister's like, I love kids. It's just that I wouldn't do it again. And her then the mom's like, I love my children. I would do it. I'm so happy I, had them. And I obviously you are my child, even though I uh adopted you, we love you so much. And they're like, we don't want to force you to do anything, Emma. But Mike is, and Mike, yeah, Mike is just still like, I don't want to tell you, I don't want to get married unless you're going to have kids. And that is, here's the thing, that makes sense. It's one of the couple of things you should get together. How do you feel about family? How do you want to live? What kind of houses, what kind of places do you want to live? How do you vision, yourself in the next year, 5 years, 10 years? What brings you joy? What makes you upset? Like what does happiness look like for you? And I think for me, I would say like happiness has always looked like a beautiful home filled with family and friends and like there's chosen versions of both with like a tablescape and great food, people like lounging in different rooms, like some people maybe watching TV or something stupid in one room, some people like hanging out in a bedroom, like just that kind of like vibe. That's not Alex's vibe. So Emma and Mike also can't really give us their answer because their answer of whether they agree on this is sort of, I guess, now the answer of whether they're going to get married. And so the producers know they have to, like, I guess, hold off on both. If they had given us anything else, like, there are a couple of things that have been set up that at this point do not come back. Emma had initially thought she wanted to be with Connor. Now, when Chris has a conversation with Bree, he's like, I want, I would like to be with you. Also, just so you know, Connor wasn't going to pick you. Connor only picked you when I decided I was going to be with Jamie or whatever the fuck it is. And then she has to talk to Connor and he's like, that asshole lied. Emma and Mike, could that come up that, Mike wasn't the first choice? Mike just almost feels a little like a pick me because I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's also a bad edit. Like maybe their vibes of their segments just feels a little too friendly, a little too like, I don't know, just not sexual or not romantic. They just don't, they seem platonic. And the fact that they don't want to have kids together, I think just further illustrates like a disconnect romantically, sexually, like in a couple style way. Also, it does feel like Mike's family does not like Emma. And it's because she's not Italian and she does not want, she doesn't want to have kids. And that kind of family, like a Mediterranean family, like old school like that, no. The kind of daughter-in-law they want is someone to be like, I love family. I can't wait to have kids. No, my whole trajectory is to live as close to you as guys as possible. I definitely know the difference between gravy and sauce. I make it all the time. And just to come over with, baby after baby, pregnant after pregnant, just kids running around and just stirring and grating Parmesan cheese the rest of my life next door. That's what I want. Also going to church on Sundays. We're Catholic. I've been Catholic my whole life. The Feast of the Fishes. I can't wait to make Feast of the Fishes every Christmas. Like that's what they want, like they want, they don't want frosting cookies, like that's like Jersey style. Like we know what that's like. We've seen Real Housewives and Emma's not that. Like Emma like knows what she wants and also like has boundaries and can be like, that's not good for me or that's doesn't feel right. Now, Mike, for all intents and purposes, seems to have a mind of his own more than his family. In fact, half of his family's whole situation with Mike is they're like, "Are you there?" His mom's like, "Are you even making decisions?" He's like, "Yeah, this is not protection. I'm doing this. You have to trust me." It's obvious that they don't trust Mike. It's obvious a little bit like Mike maybe has been held back or like uh regressive, maybe like held back in a regressive way because maybe his mom does seem a little intense. Later on, the mom's like, "I've been trying to call you, and every time you yell at me." And he's like, "You call me a lot, and it's at the worst possible times, and I've been in a bad mood." Yes. So basically, the weddings, I don't know if I probably talked more about, I probably went into episodes 10 and 11. I'm going to have to change the title of this. But basically, let me just say that when the weddings start, it's interesting because from my knowledge of Love is Blind, I think they're going to start with Christine and Vic because they're the obvious couple. Like Christine, like the minute that we see Christine and Vic, we should assume they're gonna say yes. So now that they didn't open with them, I'm like, they better fucking have. I think that some drama must have happen or whatever. They open obviously with Emma and Mike. God bless. That happens. Um, Mike's mom goes and talks to Emma. We're supposed to believe that she really wants this. She's basically cringing that her son would just decide to marry someone he barely knows. They're like, "Yeah, as you know, Mike, me and your dad dated for 5 fucking years," which in Italian ways, that was probably like 40 years. They probably had a 40-year courtship. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, because also, whatever, God bless. So half of me is like, I wonder if Mike's, oh, it's so amazing to date someone from a different race. Like maybe Mike's attraction to Emma is that she is so different. The way she looks, the way she talks, the boundaries that she holds, like her family unit. Like maybe she is so different and so exciting in that way that also that she offers him a chance to like break free from what he's always known, which is like, obviously a very intense Italian chokehold. you know, that's it. Basically, what ends up happening is the episode ends with Mike being like, "Okay, well, as you guys know, the big thing is, will she have kids or won't she? So will I get married to her? I don't know. Let me throw it over to you, Emma." And Emma's like, "Okay, well, yes, I want to spend the rest of my life considering the kid situation, and I want it to be with you." And then he's like, "Oh, okay, good. So yes, you'll have kids with me." And then like they end it. And they were supposed to believe that he's going to be like, "Okay, so now that I have that information, yes or no." Could you imagine a world in which he's like, "Okay, fine. Yes. Yes, Mike. Yes. I will have Italian kids with you, or half Chinese have Italian kids." And he's going to be like, "Oh, good, good, good. Great job. Mom, I got it. You know what? Let's hold back." Let's wait a little bit before we get married. Like, obviously, that'd be really fucked up too. I feel like her family would kill him. I love her family. I love her mom. I love her dad. I love her sisters. I don't not like his family, but interesting. All right. I've talked for almost 3 hours. It's almost 9 o'clock. I actually cannot believe it. However, that's what life is. I can't imagine how many pauses there have been. What's really interesting is that when you think that you're going to do like a 10 episode mega recap of like a whole season, you're kind of like, I have notes and this is going to go really easy. But then you like think to yourself, that's a lot, Chris. And as I sit here right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't think this is the best recap I've done. I hope I wasn't all over the place. And I do think I was all over the place, but that's on me. So having said that, I do appreciate your patience and I appreciate you guys being with me in this room. It's been a long time of me talking and I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Hi. Hi, Shay. I'm done talking about this, but there's a lot of content coming up. Obviously, more than 90 Day coming up. The entirety of America's Next Top Model, the recap is up. Traders, I'm going to watch tonight, and Traders recaps are up until the one that happened tonight, which I'm excited about. And I will give a better recap for the weddings and the tell all. It'll be a smaller amount of content, and I think I will be more streamlined. Having said that, it's been really great to do an old fashioned live recap and see people in the room. Oh, thank you so much. And directly talk to people. Tammy, thank you so much. And also, yeah, like getting real time updates. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being in the room. So yeah, all of that. You can follow me, of course. I'm at Chris L. Farah across the board. Some fun things coming up. It's my birthday. So this whole next week is going to be like me planning my dad's 75th birthday. We have a dinner somewhere in Hollywood. I'll show all that. I ordered some cameos for my dad for his birthday, and I'm excited to see what comes through. I've never done we'll see. And then my birthday is in a week and a half. And so that is all at Chris L. Farah, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Chris Farah, Vanity Farah, the private group on Facebook, Patreon, Chris Farah, and Substack. I'm coming back. Honestly, little break as I moved, but can't wait to update that feed as well. That all exists. Of course, we're going to breathe and we're going to say our goodbyes. And I really appreciate, hanging out with me for so long. Just thank you so much for liking this video, for subscribing, for giving any comment you have. I appreciate all the engagement. It's the free way to tickle me, my insides, my heart, and let me know you care. It's important because love exists. Sometimes it's blind and sometimes you absolutely can see it. Like when you see notifications, when you see comments, you see the love. All right, babes, 2 breaths. Thank you for sharing your time with me. So if you don't mind, me and you, let's give another gift for ourselves. And this gift is to be present in this moment, to stop thinking about the past, to stop worrying about the future, but to put 10 toes down, 2 feet on the ground, sit bones on a chair, to allow your body and yourself to take up some space, your diaphragm as you breathe in. Maybe even consider, as I've done, engaging the top half of you, maybe lifting up your chest, maybe trying to engage lats or making sure you're not collapsed on yourself. 2 breaths using either my voice or your breath or any other sounds you make to try and just be present. Not have to think about anything, but acknowledge and accept where you are right now. It is 8:43 p.m. It's February 26th. It's a Thursday in the year of our Lord 2026, Pacific Standard Time. I'm in Los Angeles. You listened to me, and I have talked for this whole time, and I'm so blessed to have anyone care. And also, what a lovely life that I could talk about dumb television shows that, yes, are dumb on the surface, but for some reason offer a lot of discussion and fodder about like the human experience. Okay, right? Stop talking, breathing. One more, because sometimes you forget and you start thinking. So you're like, okay, I'll do it again. I'll try it. I'll try it again. Did it work? It kind of did for a second. Here's the good news. I'm going to try it again when I go to bed tonight. If it didn't work 100%, I'm going to try again. And there's no judgment about a failure or a win, but the process in itself is it. All right, babes, take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe. Make art, support art, love yourselves. No one else will. Show love when you can because people need it. And then in turn, you get it back. All right. Bye.